Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. We have an interesting topic today. I've been hearing a lot of people say, you know, shit. I'm gonna say what they say. They say you niggas gonna get deported too, and I want to know where we gonna get deported. I guess they're gonna deport me back to Birmingham, Alabama. That's where I'm going. So, question: will FBAs get deported to Mississippi? And last but not least, can FBAs get immigrant scholarships? Reason why I asked you that is because it's been brought to my attention in several different venues that immigrants, you know, finagle FBA scholarships. It happens all the time. I've seen it happen. The Martin Luther King scholarship goes to somebody in Ghana. You know, the Medgar scholarship at Jack State goes to somebody from Jamaica. So, does it ever happen the other way around? Do our foundational does Lil Ray Ray out the projects get the Ghanaian scholarship at University of Memphis? Does that happen? I'm just asking. I never really make statements. I'm just asking questions. Y'all forgive my nose. I'm a little stopped up, but we still gonna roll today. Wani, do FBAs get immigrant scholarships? Does that happen?
Absolutely not. The immigrants will come over here to this country and there's a whole website of scholarships by immigrants. So there was a Haitian nursing scholarship, and it said if you're of Haitian descent, see, they know how lineage works for them, but they don't seem to understand how that works for us. Anyway, if you were to apply, which I did, I didn't want to be a nurse, but I applied anyway. And I called them up and I said, so you're saying that I can't get this scholarship because I'm not Haitian? And in fact, I cannot. I would have to prove that I was Haitian to get the scholarship. Same thing with any other scholarships here. I've looked at all of their guidelines. Well, actually, there's millions of them, but I looked at some of the more popular countries' guidelines to getting the scholarship, and it always goes back to you have to be from Ghana, you have to be from wherever. And these are not scholarships in Ghana or in Haiti. These are scholarships that are here in America. So they are in our country, providing opportunities for themselves while clogging up every scholarship. And it's not just them. Oh, no. It's not just Caribbeans and Africans. We have Arabs highly represented on our Black scholarships. Oh, yes. Indians highly recommended, and they actually make jokes
Facts.
and laugh um, about getting into medical school and gobbling up opportunities. They made books about it and laugh about it. So, pretty much everybody. I've seen Asians, I've seen Arabs, I've seen Indians. All of the, even Indians are Asians, but you know what I'm saying. I've seen all of these different people represented in our scholarships, but things are drastically different when it comes to their turn to offer an opportunity for us in our country.
Wani, that's a byproduct of slavery, and I'm about to. Can I tell the truth and shame the devil? Can somebody give me permission? Do I have permission to tell the truth and shame the devil? I'm gonna take that as a yes. A byproduct of slavery was that we weren't supposed to enjoy anything. As a matter of fact, there was an edict passed by Maryland, Maryland's motherfucking ass owes us some money too, because in the 1600, I think 1638, somebody fact check me on that. Maryland passed an edict that said no black person, meaning us at the time, could enjoy the fruits of the land. I'll read the exact edict in a moment. But so Maryland condemned us. The Maryland colony condemned us. But according to Dr. Claude Anderson, page 10 of his masterpiece, Dr. Claude Anderson says, quote, worst of all, slaves, meaning us, were intentionally kept without hope. A slave's life was committed to producing wealth and comfort for white masters. Another important part about slavery, Dr. Claude Anderson posits, is quote, the slaves suffered in silence. So not only are we supposed to not enjoy anything that we motherfucking made. We supposed to just stick our grit our teeth and bear it. Don't you dare cry about it, boy. That's the ideology played with us. Now, what I'm trying to teach my people is something fascinating happened in 1804 when the Haitians won the revolution. Won the first part of the revolution. Now, I give credit where credit's due. They did beat the shit out the best army in the planet, the best military in the planet, but they fucked it up with greed. I talked about this in uh re-up stage yesterday. They fucked it up by killing their own leaders and selling them out so they could have a chance to be slave masters. Dumb mistake. They're still paying for that mistake. But I give them props on beating the shit out the French. Well, when the Haitians beat Napoleon Bonaparte's army, the French army, um, a wave of fear went throughout the British Commonwealth and throughout the system of white supremacy. The wave of fear was, oh shit, if the Haitians can do it, other groups will do it. So, according to Jacob Carruthers, the institution of slavery shifted basically in 1805. It shifted from physical to mental. Keep that in mind. What's that have to do with what we're talking about, Professor? What it has to do with what we're talking about is the concept of what Dr. Claude Anderson said of slaves were intentionally kept without hope. Slaves' life was committed to producing wealth and comfort for others. uh that shifted from me working my ass out in the field, making corn and making cotton, to intellectual. And that's what Wani's talking about. These scholarships that's allocated for us fit into that dynamic. We're not supposed to benefit off anything that's exclusive for us. We're supposed to give it to somebody else, and we're supposed to not say a goddamn word about it. So you have member Indian people at Howard Medical School a couple years ago on the front page smiling at as a med student at a medical school created for foundational Black American victims of slavery. God damn it. um what did Claude say? The slaves suffered in silence. Nobody said. Physician and professor at Howard Medical School said a motherfucking mumbling word. What happened to her? She got fired. You know what? I am honored to say the same shit happened to me, like my hero, Dr. Wells. And although I'm not a physician, I'm an educator. It happened to me as a professor at a historically Black college of education. When I said something, when I pointed out the turd in the punch bowl at the school in the curriculum, they got rid of my ass, and I do it 100 times over. I digress.
So the next part of the title says, will FBAs get deported to Mississippi? I don't know where I would be deported to. I was born in California. Do I get deported to where my parents were from? Do I get split down the center and sent to Philly in Ohio? Is that how that works? These people do not understand how our DNA is here. Really confused individuals. And I've seen people try to include us in their shit storms, and usually we go for it. But this kind of threat is really ridiculous. No, that's like deporting Native Americans back to Siberia. Where in Siberia? We don't know where these people came from. They just walked across the Bering Strait into America and were declared Native Americans, even though they're from. Uh-oh, host is having connection issues. Uh, did you walk around again? No, I can't hear you. Okay. I don't know what to say. I can't. It doesn't show you talking. Let release the mic for a minute. Anyway, I don't think people understand how uh, you know, our ethnicity works. Now, if we were Chinese and we had little Chinatown and we've been living over there for 200 years, and you ran our DNA and you could see that we immigrated here, then yeah, a couple hundred years later, you could ship us back to China. But that's not what it says. A lot of people like me have over 40 different countries listed. So, yeah, where are you going to send me? It's fractured. All four of my grandparents came from different parts of the United States.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Now my phone did not lose reception. I'm in the same spot in my little area in my place. Nor did like the call drop or anything like that. Somebody somewhere decided that they didn't want me to talk anymore. The reason why I know that is all of a sudden I couldn't hear anybody, couldn't hear Wani. And I was calling, and I was like, "Hey, do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me?" And then somebody hit me. My finger wasn't nowhere near my phone. My mute button went on. I was like, "Oh, okay, got you." So, whoever you are, I'm gonna keep talking about it. Deal with it. Where were we, Wani?
I was discussing the fact that because of our unique ethnicity, we can't be deported.
I put I don't know if y'all got the little message in it, but I put deport me back to Ensley, Alabama, drop me off at Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church, Pleasant View Missionary Baptist Church, because that's where I immigrated from. That's where my family immigrated from. We from Pleasant View Missionary Baptist Church. That's where we from.
So technically, if I was a Chinese individual, they could say, "Hey, we see your immigration papers and we can ship you back." If I was a person of European descent, most of them have their original genetics because most of them are new immigrants and they could be deported right back to where they came from. However, if we said we're going to deport back all the Native Americans, they wouldn't, like, it would just be Siberia, which isn't a place to deport someone back to. Same thing with Black Americans. We come from 5 to 6 different continents, and there's no way to deport us to all those places. And there's not one place that stands out. So I might have a chunk of something, you may have a chunk of something else, and that's just not the way things work. So their dream of us being deported is, it's a pipe dream. Maybe somebody might be laid up with somebody illegal and get scooped up in it, but for the most part, we're not going anywhere. We're just not.
I mean, what you gonna do? Cut half of me? You're gonna have to cut 30% of me off and ship that shit to England. Cut another 40% of me off and sprinkle that shit across Africa. And the other, hell, where I'm at, the other 30% you're gonna have to sprinkle in Siberia. I mean, I guess it could be done, but it'd be real messy. And how would you know which part to cut off? Man, fuck these folk. I'm not going nowhere. I'm from here. Like they say in
I
Memphis.
think
Go ahead.
I think the legs go to Africa for the fleeing.
Oh shit.
Anyway, like I said in the other room before it crashed, that these immigrants have these scholarship programs and they have a lot of nerve to form scholarships here in the United States for themselves while taking advantage of our scholarships. They would look at me like I was out of my mind if I said, "Hey, I want a scholarship," and ask a Somali organization or an Arab organization or any organization. They would, cross question me and think I was out of my mind. Yet they just have no problem mooching off of anything that we've come up with, even when it's branded with our heroes' names.
This is not going to be popular, but I've never been around to be popular. I'm here to tell the truth at whatever cost it. I'm fine with it at the end of the day. Um, the truth of the matter is, we need our asses whooped because we are complicit in helping these folk get our goddamn scholarships. I have worked. I've dedicated the last 3.5 years of my life to a historically black college, and I've watched foundational black American baby boomer ass administrators break their back to help people from the diaspora, getting them scholarships. I seen somebody get somebody basically a scholarship to pledge foundational Black American sorority, for Christ's sake. Meantime, I'm not gonna name the sorority, but let's just say y'all all know it so well. Um, Meanwhile, one of my honor students, got dismissed. I mean, not dismissed, but got rejected from that same sorority that went out their way to find money to let somebody, an African girl, pledge whatever the letters are, and dismiss a foundational Black American girl with a 4 point fucking O. This girl had a 4.0 GPA, and it wasn't a bullshit major. She was serving in the military, let's put it that way, and played sports, and she was very attractive. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't no bullshit candidate. They jumped over her to get a girl from Africa when the mission statement of these organizations it were to help the Black community. How that work and what that mean? Why are these administrators doing this? What am I missing? Is it cute to be a
Well,
traitor?
it looks like they get a cheap thrill out of undercutting Black Americans. And someone said that the other people are paying bribes or paying cash and they can put that under the table. So they give them, you know, special consideration.
Well, I said that, and I have evidence from one of my professors. Me and this professor got fired at the same time. She's I like this. I like this lady. She's was an English professor, PhD, um, who got fired because the kids liked her because she taught English from a instead of teaching English from them, Caucasian canon books that they give you, she decided to teach sentence structure with like rap with NWA and stuff. She played like a rap song. It was brilliant actually. She played a line from Dr. Dre or something and say, "Well, this is the predicate. This is how you break it down." And kids were getting 4.0s. She thinks that she got fired mainly, check this shit out. Colleges, let me go ahead and I'm feeling generous. Let me give away some game. Colleges make money off of people failing courses. Do y'all know that? Do y'all know if you have to repeat a course? Hell to the yes. These colleges make motherfucking money off of you failing. Because if you take English 101 and that course, let me be generous. Let's say it costs $3,000. Although this was a private school, probably was like more than that. But you take English 101 and you pass it, you don't have to take it again. But if you take English 101 and you fail it, they put you on probation. And guess what you got to do? You got to take it again. So what did the college get? Instead of $3,000, that college got $6,000. And you were happy to pay it because you almost got kicked out. It's a racket. But she thinks she got fired because she didn't pass nobody, but she made the English so interesting that she had a very low failure rate. People were happy about her class, and she got fired right when we got fired at the same time. But anyway, she showed me some evidence, so I'm not just talking out my ass. I got the evidence actually. She showed me that. Well, she showed me some persuasive evidence. Let me not call it evidence. She showed me a persuasive thing to kind of show that, according to her, these baby boomer ass administrators, not professors, administrators, uh, tend to support black African children from the diaspora because these children don't have access to student loan, the FAFSA thing that I bet you everybody in this motherfucking space know about. Unfortunately, including my big old ass that owe an arm and a leg. I don't even want to talk about it. But according to her, these members from the diaspora don't have access to loans. So the kids from Jamaica and Africa that you see over here are paying for tuition out of cash. They got money, man. They're royalty and shit for whatever that's worth. It's probably our goddamn money we were sold from, but that's a whole nother story. But when you pay for tuition in cash, let's just say that that cash can be sent all kinds of different places if y'all know what I'm talking about. and she wasn't happy about that either, which is probably why they another reason why they fired her. They fired me. They didn't fire me. They non. I didn't get tenure. They let me go. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't need you anymore. They did that shit to me because I was responsible for a class called multiculturalism, which is absolute poison. If y'all have a child or a student, or some of y'all go back to school and you take multiculturalism, beware. That shit teaches you. You need to teach everybody's history, which is cap. The only history you need to teach to black children is their own history, because that's our problem. Well, anyway, my department head, God bless him, allowed me to write the book instead of, you know what I'm saying, instead of letting them the students buy a book that was written about multiculturalism. He gave me time to write my own multiculturalism workbook, which is what's for sale. That's what I'm holding in my picture. Um, and I wrote it for the course. The kids absolutely love the course. Well, the kids, they were older than me. Some of them was in their 50s and 40s, and but they absolutely loved the course. And when the administrator found out that I wrote that book, she ordered a copy, and I was non-renewed that next month. So and she was a black lady, black PhD, yeah, that acted like she just loved me. But apparently somebody else is pulling the strings. You understand me? I'm gonna put it. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that because that'll give away the school. I'm not gonna do that. No, no, no. But y'all get the point.
Now, we're supposed to share our HBCUs. I saw that they made an Asian woman some big deal at one of these HBCUs and all of this type of thing. We're supposed to share everything with the diaspora. Now, bear in mind that none of these people thought to create schools for themselves. They just want to go to our schools and then tell us we shouldn't go to Harvard or any other Ivy League school because we might get in their way, and they're immigrants, and they wonder why we're clapping as they go out the door.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sorry, but sorry, but after all of that, what we're doing to help people, and we're just, selfishly doing it, embracing these people, including them in our organizations, including them in these clubs, um, extending an olive branch. And as soon as they get a chance to strike back at us for no reason, they blame us for abusing them. We're speaking about Asians and European descendants are the ones who caused harm against them 80 to 90% of the time. We have a fraction of interactions with them. And yet they were all over the internet, all in all these rooms on Clubhouse saying that we were attacking them. They have a fear. I understand that they have a deep seated fear of being beat down because they deserve it. But it just didn't happen. That's not what happened. No statistics are going to show that that happened. Um, but anyway, as we speak now, they continue to exploit HBCUs, every diversity program. They give deadly customer service, and we continue to allow them to um, be in our midst in these schools. And if you say something, some of these people are very protective of them. I used to wonder, well, where is this coming from? Oh, I found out. Caribbeans are very protective of Asians. They even have Asian last names. They even have Chinese last names. They have a different relationship with Asians than Black Americans do.
Oh,
They're in their families. They run the island, even though they're like 1% or something. They own all the stores. They act like they're fathers. They beat them upside their heads. They slap their children upside the head. So they beat them up in stores. So their relationship with Asians is completely different than ours. But the Asian has a deep seated fear of the Black American man. He has no fear of the Caribbean man.
very fascinating. So I will say this, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ivy League educated, but I'm proud to say I didn't finish at the Ivy League. I stopped saying the name of the school; it's irrelevant. But I graduated from a historically black college, and at my historically black college, my historically black college is one of the damn, it might be the only one that has a doctor of physical therapy program, which is kind of a big deal. You know, physical therapists make they start out making 100,000, and it's a very honorable career. You know, you can practice on your own. It's a big deal. And anyway, when I was there, a lot of the you know, undergrads were like, you know what, we just gonna stay here and go to that PT program, get our, you know, become get our doctoral degree. Man, when I thought about it for a hot second, looked into it, more than half of the goddamn cohort were white kids. So historically black colleges, you know what? I'll lead. You know what? Fuck it. Put that on me. I'll lead that charge. Those schools, they're created for us to promote equality from the transatlantic, from the slave trade. That's what they're there for. There are a few exceptions. The exceptions to historically black colleges being put as a reconstruction or an equity to black foundational black Americans solely to us. The exceptions are gonna make perfect sense to you. Let me tell you an exception. The exception is Howard University. Howard University was created for mulatto children. Yes, Howard University was created for the children of the slave owners who had children with the help out of guilt. That's what that was created for. And I have some scholarship to suggest that Hampton was created the same way. And if that's true, that makes sense as well. But the vast majority of them are for us. They belong to us. And we are crazy if we don't diplomatically take them back. They fucking belong to us. A historically black college saved my life when saved my academic career when I ran out of money at the Ivy League. I went to the Ivy League with a pocket full of money, and that shit wiped me out. I came back home waiting tables, man. And the historical black college did it functioned exactly how it's supposed to do. It took me, looked at my grades, looked at my scores, looked at my talents, and said, "We're paying for everything. You don't worry about a goddamn thing. Just bring your ass down here and study." For me, it was made for me, and it worked how it's supposed to work. Sotar, what's on your mind?
Hey, Professor, one, I had to tell you, I've seen this with chiropractic offices, and I've seen this with the physical therapy. A lot of those people, when they have their own, they're like foreigners. They have their own businesses and whatnot. They have like regular people that they just hire to do a lot of their work. They're not, they're not physical therapists touching. You get what I'm saying? Or if they are a little educated, they just have a personal training, sir.
Well, Sotar, I hate to break that to you, but that's kind of the professional license shuffle. That's what I call it. Attorneys do it. You get a secretary basically, and I agree with you, that should be some bullshit, but in a lot of professions, it's permissible. Not a lot of them, not all of them. I think medical doctors have to hire a nurse or a PA, a physician's assistant. Like you can't just do shit for an MD without having some credence. But a lot of professionals will hire a secretary to do the work and then give the work to the professional, and they just sign off on it. I do that shit all the time, and it's perfectly legal. But I used to, let's say I used to do that. You know, let my secretary do all the work, and then I get it, and you know, given a professional license is your butt, is what it is. So if you look over the work and everything looks right, you sign it. You don't have to do the work. But in a lot of cases, in medical fields, I don't think things should be that way. You know what I'm saying? But in to my understanding, medical doctors can't do it, which makes sense. You need a nurse or a physician's assistant or a nurse practitioner to do that type of stuff. But yeah, that's just kind of the way it goes. And I've seen it done. I've seen people kind of get screwed over with it, not by me, but by other folks, of course. Um,
I heard a breaking up sound again.
wow.
Anyway, the university Fresh wanted me to say that the University of Memphis has an agreement with the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat that provides fully funded scholarships for Ghanaian students. Now, they may be getting some sort of incentives for doing this, like charitable works. And then those people will be running around the United States flexing their degree on us that they got from our school when they were trained by our teachers. So, this is what's confusing to me, the flexing to me, my own resources. This is why people are waving goodbye as they sail out on these rafts.
Yeah, University of Memphis is a leading. It's a R1 university. I got a master's degree from there. Yeah, but the University of Memphis is a PWI. It's a primarily white institution, but University of Memphis has always had a very high. It's almost like a historically black college because Memphis is ultra black, and damn near half the students have always been black. Things are changing there, going the other direction, but that's very and University of Memphis is a dynamite school. It's one of the only schools in the country that has an Egyptology program. Princeton has one, to give you an idea. Well, anyway, enough bragging on University of Memphis. Um, that's hard to hear because I do work in Ghana. Some of you know this, and last time I was in Ghana, summer 2023, we went past the University of Ghana. It pissed me off to the ninth power because they have a real school, like has a quad. And I mean, University of Ghana is gigantic, and it looks like it appears to be a real research college. Well, what pissed me off is all the Ghanaian students I've seen at my historically black college, at, like Wani said, at University of Memphis when I was a grad student, um, and all these other places. I didn't see one black American student there. So apparently Ghana doesn't have reciprocity. Black people, foundational black Americans, we should demand reciprocity. If we're going to help you, you got to help me. What's with all this trying to save people stuff? Our sister Wani told me some shit, Wani, and you can jump in because I'm paraphrasing you. You remember you told me something about us having, we acquire guilt from white people.
White guilt by proxy,
Let that
yes.
shit, can you explain that? Because we need to let that shit go today, tonight.
Well, there are some white people that have guilt about colonizing things and they try to be do-gooders. They'll go overseas and do a lot of charitable works. They're doing it out of guilt, and they have spread that guilt all over America. Remember, we were told, make sure you eat everything on your plate. People are starving. Well, that wasn't just in black households, that was in every household. You should feel guilty about sleeping on a bed. You should feel Black Americans should never feel sleepy when they lay their head down on a bed. Our ancestors fought for any comforts, any pillows, any mattresses, any coverage, any shelters, anything, any crumb of food that we eat. Our ancestors paid for everything that we experience. So we don't need to feel guilty, but we do because we're around white people and they feel guilty and it rubs off. It's by proxy, like I said. But the thing that really hurts me is that the people that we're doing this for, they don't have the humanitarian spirit that we spoke about in the other room. They just don't have it. So when it comes time to give back, when it comes time to say, hey, I got this opportunity in America and maybe I owe Americans something, and maybe I went to an HBCU, maybe I owe black people something, their response is to set up a Hindu caste system in these tech companies and exclude white people, black people, and people that are not of their caste. So this is their response to being able to have the American dream. They set up a Hindu nightmare for anyone who's not Hindu and block everybody out and make sure that they undercut us in every way possible in our
Like,
country, outside of our country.
it's like Mark Carter said, it's a takeover spirit. It's a take. They want to take shit over. And you talking to one that used to be a Boy Scout. Real life has turned me like super real. I've seen this shit happen. I seen them get it. What I saw when I left Memphis, when I left Tennessee, I saw our the fraternity and sorority world being taken over by foreigners. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like foreigners, fucking members of the diaspora taking over the uh for fraternity and sorority. Well, let's just say the sorority. That's what I saw. The sorority world, and then getting sassy and not letting Black Americans into a goddamn Black American sorority. Black people, what's wrong with us? Why are we letting this happen? I
I
saw a
think we're
black
waking up. We're waking up now.
I saw a foundational Black American professor that we had students there that had to drop out because they didn't have enough money to eat. Didn't have enough money for tuition. I'm giving folk money to stay in the dorm and get food. You know what I'm saying? I saw a black professor adopt adopt the child of a Mexican student just to give her a break. And I'm like, that's very sweet, but why didn't you help any of our black students? We got black girls here. We got foundational black single mothers here. Just jump out her way to adopt a Mexican child so this girl can finish her degree.
It makes them feel extra good to help
Others.
foreigners. And they don't get that feeling by helping local people. I suffered from that same disorder. It's like, oh, they don't need any help. I might as well just help these people way over here. The people here, I just viewed them as not needing the help. And it just took a while for me to understand that Americans in need are hidden under a decadent veil, or people think you're doing well and we can't get any international help. We have record numbers of people that are homeless and we can't get international help because we're in America.
Yeah, I'm putting some in the jumbotron. We gonna have to hit it with some Claude. Is this a Claude Anderson type of day? Claude Anderson. I wonder, is this about meritorious manumission? According to Dr. Claude Anderson, meritorious manumission was the legal act of freeing a slave for good deeds defined by national public policy. Meritorious manumission could be granted to a slave who distinguished himself by saving the life of a white master, inventing a new medicine, or snitching on a fellow slave. Stop right there. That snitching thing that Dr. Anderson just talked to us about vis-a-vis my mouth. Um, I wonder, is that why we don't help each other? And if it is, ladies and gentlemen, there goes a claim for reparations. Because that the legal act of meritorious manumission was a government sanctioned act by the United States of America. So if the United States of America had a direct policy to make us hate each other and not want to help each other, make us want to jump over a black girl that's trying to get her goddamn degree and help a Mexican girl, no disrespect to Mexicans, but help a Mexican girl raise her child, I wonder, is that have something to do with meritorious manumission? What you got, Stacy?
Well, one thing that kind of kills me is when you have people who do certain things and then you be like, well, where was her family at? Where was her family with her kid? Why did this person need to step in? Why were they so gung ho to adopt a little Mexican child? I think that's kind of a personal thing, but like something her own personal, like why, like you said, you asked, why would you adopt a child or help this person over helping your fellow, helping other black students that need it. Then I was thinking too, I wonder how many did any of the students ask for help? Not saying that the Mexican girl asked for help, but how many of us FBAs ask people for help?
Well,
You
it
know what I mean? Because
yeah.
we are, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right, Stacey. I'm glad you said that because we proud as fuck. We've been taught to
Yeah,
we've been
and
taught to
not
be
like it's a
ashamed of.
bad thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say not like it's a bad thing, but we black, we proud, we strong, and we've gone through so much, and I don't want to say that we're too ashamed to do it, but to ask, it's almost like too as if do we not feel like we deserve to ask for help? And the thing is, we're the first to help other people, and I know I'm like that, and I'm still working on asking for things like
Well,
not that I don't.
I
Go ahead.
attribute it. I actually stumbled into a into a department of educational psychology at University of Memphis. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to. I was getting a master's degree in education, and that was so full of shit that I just couldn't take it no more. I'm like, I'm not learning anything. Well, anyway, in that program, I think God ordained it, or the universe ordained it, because like it helped me to see what's going on in my people. I was like, oh shit, I did never saw it that way. So how that ties to what you were saying, Stacy, is we've been propagandized, we've been psychologically weaponized to believe that we need to get it out the mud because everybody else does it, when everybody else don't do a goddamn thing but get it out us. They get shit that this mandated for us, and we're, it's like a vicious cycle. We're like, I'm gonna get it myself because I'm gonna prove that I can do it, when these people that are smiling at me are getting it off of our shit. And the European ones have a whole nother system where they getting stuff. Don't ask me how I know. If you get folks drunk, they tend to talk. You know what I'm saying? What up, Nikki?
Peace, peace. It's saying that you started it. Did you start a second space earlier?
I
Did you?
Yes.
I
You
started
did? Okay.
one, and my space didn't my reception didn't go down. It didn't crash. Somebody kicked me off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was telling
I'm
Wani
so
my.
glad.
I know it. Somebody did it because I couldn't hear Wani or anybody talking. I said, "Hello, can y'all hear me?" And the mute button. Somebody my hand wasn't nowhere near my phone. My mute button went on. I was like, "Oh, I got you."
Yeah, I was in there. It was weird. I had logged in. I saw the space, and then I was like, I don't hear anything. And then I was like, it's not that many people. And then I saw it looked like somebody left, a couple people left, and then it looked like they came back. And then I was like, okay, this is weird. And so I started scrolling through and saw another space again, and it looked like it said it had ended or something, or listen or something. So I was like, oh, here's a new one. I thought, okay, something must have happened.
Yeah, but we still here, and if go down, I'll be right back because this shit's important. Ladies and gentlemen, in my world, in the academic world, people are freaking out about that Trump decision the other day. I mean, it was quiet as fuck. I teach two sections of constitutional law, and man, folks was asking me all kind of questions today. Professor, hey, how do I do that? What's going to happen to my aunt? What's going to happen to my? What's going to? I was like, man, I can't legally advise you. I can't
All
legally.
immigrants?
Uh,
Nervous immigrants?
well, people who had immigrant. I'm in Atlanta, so a lot of people have
Mm-hmm.
immigrant family members
Okay.
and spouses, but it was like a floodgate of people running to me to ask me questions.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that serious. But back to the issue, Stacy. We've been propagandized by the system in so many different ways. I mean, in my book, I showed that. How much do I want to tell y'all about this? When oh God, I hate to say founding fathers. I gag saying that. When the founding felons got together to create the Constitution, they had a little agreement going on, and they decided that they were going to use religion to create cohesion in the American system, and that's okay. I'm not anti-religion, but the from what I reading in between the lines, I see that they kind of created their own little version. And what I'm trying to say, Stacy, is the Bibles that they created a slave Bible. So basically, they had a plan where they would pick a the stud, and I don't mean that in an LGBTQ sense. I mean it in a literal, the man who made the babies. They would pick him, an articulate one of stud, and give him a slave Bible that had a jumble of passages that were um, completely made and tailored psychologically to for means of control. And they made him a pastor. What I found in my research when I was writing my book is these descendants of these fucking slave these cherry pick Negro pastors are still in the church today. That's why they be sleeping with everybody's wife. That's why. That's exactly why they be sleeping with folks' wives and getting their ass shot up. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's psychological. It's a psychological attack on us. I was telling somebody in a space earlier today that we need more psychologists. We need some PhD psychologists in here analyzing the effects because I have limited knowledge in psychology. I know a bit. I went to a solid program, but we need some PhD psychologists in here to really analyze. Joy DeGruy was a PhD psychologist, and she busted open with her little knowledge. One of these days, I'm gonna have a space on Joy. Uh, Empress, what's on your mind? I think this is Empress
Empress, go ahead and come off your mic. You can unmute yourself.
or Emprezy. I think I heard her say her name was Empress.
Okay. No, it's
Okay,
Empress. It's not Empressy. It's straight up
come on with
Empress.
it. Come
What's
on with it,
up?
Empress.
Hey, Professor Nikki, how are you? Much Detroit love, family. I want to bring something to y'all little attention here. That's starting in the local Detroit area. They're starting to go in Southwest Detroit. They heading to Dearborn, and they're going for the Arabians. ISIS kicking the doors down and dragging them on up and out. And then they get all, excuse me, I'm making a little wonderful thing of tea. And they're on Instagram saying that the black community is calling ICE on them. And these are the same individuals here in Detroit that's been using racial slurs for years. Now you want our city council, who has no legal authority, to speak up about it. Then you bring into the fact, this is the stupid part, but it's factual. Well, why is it those from the UN, UK don't have to be deported? And as Brandon Johnson stated, he's not going to turn over, but he doesn't feel the same when it comes to the black community. This is a year every man hold their own balls. To your point, Professor, you made a great point. We do need more therapists, more clinical psychologists, because it's a mental demonic, that appearance and feeling that you can feel the energy. When you're dealing with a mind that's unstable, and I think I've told you what's running the country is a Gemini dog in China. It's going to be a whirlwind. You ain't seen nothing. And this is just the beginning. It's going to get worse. Have you been hearing about they're going to be cutting off for the seniors the Medicaid and Medicare, and causing the medication prices to go
I've
up,
heard that.
Professor?
Yeah,
What's your
yeah,
thought
I've
on
heard
that?
that. I don't know how valid it is, but I've heard rumblings of that.
Yeah, I was at a doctor yesterday and he was reading that they're not going to be able to no longer bill for Medicaid for treating those that are disabled and elderly. And I just find that as absurd. So you're going to have people without actual health care just for the hell of it. You're now finna make it where you're giving tax cuts to the rich, but those that make 18 to 30,000, you're gonna tax them 20%, and 25% for those making 40 to 75,000 a year. Did you hear that, Professor? When it comes to people's
Oh no,
salaries, it's gonna
yeah,
get
it's getting
interesting.
interesting.
That's an understatement, don't you
Yeah.
think? And everybody, I'm noticing, wants to pull us into their nonsense as we are delineating from their foolishness. Now they want to make it like all of the blacks in the South who are non immigrants are going to be deported. Did you see where the federal court prevented Supreme Court prevented from those that was born here from being deported? That judgment came down today. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
I missed it. So what did the Supreme Court what they rule on?
They had ruled, you know how Trump is taking the, what is that, the DACA for those that would have been born here, but their parents would have been immigrants. He wanted to take away their birth right
Right.
privilege. And so the Supreme Court
14th Amendment.
stated that, yes. But he made a provision when he worded it that it only applied to those that would have been born, to immigrants coming from the 1980s. He said he was going to go back to the 60s and bring it to modern
Wow.
times. And then the Supreme Court made a ruling that that was too, extreme. And so they are blocking that. He cannot go through with it.
Interesting. It's gonna be that's amazing. I've never heard of the Supreme Court ruling so fast. But but I thought it was my opinion, maybe on that stipulation. But if Supreme Court justices are able to view the Constitution in a lot of different ways. One of the ways they're allowed to view it is something called original intent. That's a prerogative.
Right,
So, original intent
right.
is means what did the law mean when it was written, originally. And if they look at that shit through original intent, I'm sorry for the immigrants because the original intent of the 14th Amendment was for the black man and woman. Now
Yes,
there
and
is
that's what they're protesting right now as we're speaking. And they want to tie the black community in with the migrants and putting Brandon Johnson, he's listed now as savior because he's saying that he is not going to go through with deporting those that are known to be illegal. And I just said they're going to vote him out when the election come up for, mayor again. And I can't wait because the destruction he's causing to Chicago residents is unheard of. You're now going to give scholarships to the migrants, but you don't want to do anything for the black community. This is asinine. But remember, I said Wednesday starts the year of the snake. And this is a different type of snake because it's a wooden snake. You're going to see everything from your influential, your elected officials show you their real side. And it's their real side when the general public sees it is unheard of because you would never think people you've known for years, whether they're elected or famous, to be into some real diabolical, demonic stuff. It's going to be an interesting road, and it's just getting disgusting because now it's affecting those of us who are disabled or senior citizens.
that's crazy.
What have you What have you been thinking,
Well,
Professor?
that's very fascinating. It's a little off topic, but you said involved in diabolical stuff. I teach two sections of constitutional law, and I teach one section of ancient world history. And in my ancient world history, we're talking about Mesopotamia, which is a European jumble word that basically means Babylon, Chaldea, the Babylonians, the Assyrians. The people who did child sacrifice. And one of my students was talking about Moloch, the god Moloch. She did a report on Moloch, and my students did a bunch of connection and was like, "Wait a minute, is that the thing that still exists that the celebrities be like sacrificing children to?" I didn't say a mumbling word. I just sat there laughing, but they connected some dots. And all I'm saying is these people in high places are involved in all kinds of shit that goes back to the land of Babylon. It ain't new. You know.
The Romans in the Babylon and all of that under snake and horse, because horse for 2026 is going to be a fire horse. In China, babies that's born under the fire horse, you know what they do with them?
What?
They kill them,
Damn.
Yeah, they
turn them
do.
upside down and preserve the blood and do rituals all the way past the year of the monkey into the year of the rat.
That's crazy. People are into all
Bring
kind of shit. Um.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to Capone. What's on your mind, Capone?
Oh, nothing, brother. Just wanted to, give y'all flowers. The other day in the other room, you, Sister Wani, Sister Nikki, Sister Stacy, how you had a historical hit when you was schooling that Haitian on where the fuck we come from and everything. And can we get deported? Hell no. This is our land. We built this shit, so pay homage, and we're gonna have to pull rank on these immigrants. Brandon Johnson is not black. That's why he's doing what he's doing. What else I got to say? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. You know, I'm over here in the plantation right now, so it's kind of loud. So I'm gonna land real quick, but we want to say I love my people. We got to look out for our women and children because these folks will attack soft targets. And I land.
Yes, sir. Men, we got to look out for our women. You heard what Capone said? Because we're heading into a very interesting time. I do have some faith in some strategies that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing financially. I think Elon is making some interesting moves that may work financially to bail us out with his net crypto networks and stuff. But if it doesn't work, my looking at history as a predictor of the future, the only way out America gets out of this debt situation is a world war. That I mean, I'm sorry, I hate it too. I got kids to I look forward to raising kids real soon. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But Wani. But anyway, inside joke. But yeah, but that's history. That's the way it works. And if their stratagems don't work pretty soon, we're going to war. And uh, the way things are going in this country, we need to protect our women and our kids, man, because this could turn to a civil conflict. Stephen Marche wrote a book called The Next Civil War. Stephen Marsh is not he's a Canadian. He's not involved in American politics. He's just an empirical data analyst. He looks at numbers and just comes to conclusions based off of numbers. And couple years ago when he wrote the book, he crunched the numbers and political numbers and said, "Damn, America's having a civil war right now. There's nobody saying anything." So we're on edge. We all know it. We're all on edge, and our women. I was just telling our sister Wani about somebody I witnessed in a lecture. I'm not gonna say it on here, but I witnessed. Basically, I witnessed how unprotected our sisters are. You know, our sisters need protection. Men, you need to step up. We're going to go to Queen Nini and then Welsing. What's up, Nini?
Hey, Professor. I hope you guys are safe. Down, because you guys are on the East Coast, right?
Atlanta. I
Correct.
guess that's the East Coast.
Okay. Yeah, I hope
It's
you
the
guys are
Midwest.
safe. I heard about, the snowstorm and all that. So, yeah, I hope you guys
Snowstorm when?
stay safe. Huh?
Shit, I hope it comes. I don't want to go to work
No,
tomorrow.
I heard it was snowing. I saw
It
online
was.
people kept talking about snowstorms. It was snowing in Florida and Uh, it was someplace in Georgia. It said it was like a few of the states over there. Y'all ain't got
Wow.
no snow.
No, man. I hope
Yeah,
it snows.
Texas was snowing too. Like I think in Houston. I don't know where. It was Texas too. I thought it was. I'm
Mm-mm.
thinking like it's all up over there. They said I think like 9 people died like on the road because it was
Wow.
like snow and ice falling. It was like yes, it's horrible out there. Yeah, but what I wanted to say when you were talking about uh like the studs that, how to influence,
Right.
I saw that movie. Well, I didn't see it fully. I didn't see like the beginning and that movie, the Nat Turner movie, would Nat Turner be considered a stud?
Nat Turner. I don't hadn't really read his bio. I know he was a pastor. I don't know. That's a good question. Wani, what do you know?
Not much.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I know I don't think from my scholarship, I feel like Nat was too intelligent to that they would intentionally pick just like kind of non-intelligent talking heads that knew how to make babies and give them a couple of scriptures to
Mm-hmm.
perpetuate psychological warfare. Turn the other cheek, slaves be on. See, you see in the Bible it says be on obey your masters and you're going to go to the gates of heaven. That shit has fucked us up beyond belief because the baby boomers really bought into that, King, Dr. King was brainwashed. Dr. People forget how young Dr. King was, you know? And Dr. King was brilliant. I'm not saying anything about his intellect, but what I learned in grad school at a PWI, when I gave my dissertation thesis and dissertation topic, um, shit is political. You know, if you want to graduate, you got to kind of play the game. I think they pulled it. You know, I imagine that's what happened to King at Boston University when he was getting his PhD. What I'm trying to say is King was spoon fed. He was force fed that whole ideology of nonviolence. That wasn't his idea. Somebody came to him and probably a fucking liberal professor shoved Gandhi down his throat. Gandhi was a goddamn filthy racist. I found a document where Gandhi said nigger. He said the nigger. I don't know where it is, but I know I saw it. But I could pull up right now him saying kefir. Kefir means nigger.
In
Yeah.
his film too, like on the train when
Yep.
he was basically treated like a nigga. Remember, he was like, "Oh, I'm not a colored," or I'm pretty sure he said nigga. They just,
I thought he said nigger too.
no, I basically he was saying I ain't one of them, but nigga, you are one of us.
Right. So Gandhi, our brother Dick Gregory busted it wide open with Gandhi. Gandhi's brown ass went to Cambridge, the Harvard of England, or the whatever of England. Who gives a fuck? But he went to their law school, real hard to get into, real prestigious. And basically, the same thing happened to Gandhi is what happened to W. Du Bois. Like, we'll give you this degree, N word, if you spread our ideology. Y'all don't understand warfare, man. This shit's real. So Gandhi, with his fancy Cambridge law degree, went back to India. The English were using India to slang they dope. That's the real way of saying it. Look up the East India Company. The British was slanging so much dope. This story is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it. So basically, England, China was forbidden for years, and some Chinese made a mistake and let Marco Polo and let the Chinese start fucking with the Europeans a little bit, and little by little, the British start trading with the Chinese, right? And before you know it, the British were in love with Chinese tea. But before the British could get a handle on it, the British had spent up a lot of the Queen's gold and shit. All the wealth was spent because they liked the tea so much. So the British wanted to get their gold back. So listen, let me show you that. Let me show you how this motherfucker operate, how this European operate. The British said, okay, well, we need to get our money back from the Chinese. So they came up with an evil, devious ass goddamn idea. They said the Chinese like tea too. So they start selling the Chinese tea on the low. But the only caveat was the shit was mixed with opium. So before the Chinese, to get a good deal, was taking that tea, and the whole of China was getting hooked on basically fucking heroin. Before China knew it, their whole population had a. They don't teach you this shit in school. The whole of China had a goddamn drug habit, and England got their goddamn money back. But to keep that dope running, they needed the East India Company to slang that dope. But the problem they had is it was so many fucking people in India. It didn't matter how many guns and knives the British had; they were outnumbered. So the British needed to come up with an ideology to keep the basically at any moment the if the Indians came to their senses, they could have been like, "Fuck y'all! It's only like a couple of y'all. We just gonna bum rush you and kick you out the country." So they needed to come up with an ideology to keep the Indians from getting violent. So they used Gandhi to spread this bullshit psychological warfare. MI6, which is James Bond, that shit is deep, baby. MI6 was involved in this shit to spread this ideology to the English that whole turn the other cheek stuff. You know, don't if somebody kills you, you just turn the other cheek. That nonviolent shit. And that's how they conquered India. And that's why India is so damn casted out. Well, when King was getting his PhD, somebody spread that ideology to him and said it worked in India, which it didn't work. It fucked them up. Why don't you spread it in America? So King was spreading that ideology. Never forget that uh, a person of the Jewish faith wrote a lot of King's speeches. That should not go unnoticed. That think about that. Read them between the lines on what I just said. Um, anyway, Dr. King came and spread that ideology to us, and it fucked us so royally. It fucked up the baby boomers. That my mama and daddy, baby boomer generation, the baby boomers were more concerned and still are more concerned with goddamn helping other groups than helping us. They want to be seen as humanitarian or something. I was reading a goddamn study that said baby boomers. Well, I know for a fact baby boomers. Y'all know they're not leaving their jobs. They won't leave. They have prestigious jobs from college administrators to high GS 15 government positions, and they won't retire. They're 80 years old working on the government jobs. And the study came out. And another thing they're not doing is getting rid of their houses. The millennial, I'm an early millennial. Millennials can't afford houses. Um, and their baby boomers are on average are not giving millennials their house because the baby boomers in their aging in their age, they view their house and their job as like a power. It's a power dynamic. I'm not getting rid of my house. I'm not leaving my job because it's my source of power. They view aging as a pejorative, a negative, or something, and it's just fucking us royally. Like the baby boomers were like just their minds were fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And we're paying for it. But I digress. You landed your plane, Needy?
With that, yeah, with that said, basically you just named other races, so those are all studs in a sense, correct?
What? To give
Would
me
they be
context.
considered studs? Well, you were saying you were the reason why I mentioned Nat Turner because how you were saying the slaves had their own Bible. So they would get a stud, of the slaves, the man who was basically
Mhm.
making all the babies, who had power, who everybody looked up to. So Gandhi would be considered a stud, and so would MLK in a sense.
No, no, because
No.
no. Gandhi was an intellectual. MLK, they're all exceptions. MLK
Okay,
was
what?
in a. Okay,
I'm sorry.
MLK,
I'm sorry. My
no,
best friend.
MLK was innocent. He just was naive. He was real young. He was brainwashed, but he figured it out at the end. That's why he said, "Have I led my people in a burning house?" He's like, "Oh shit, what did I do?" Gandhi was really smart, but he was an opportunist. The studs from slavery were generally just some what my mama would call a sweetback Negro. Just you know what I'm saying that the ladies like, and they's like,
I was
"Hey,
gonna say like a bumpkin.
yeah, like Negro, learn these words and go tell them a little bit about the Lord, and have church."
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't. It's not equatable. Gandhi was evil. And you know what? If you believe what goes around comes around, somebody shot Gandhi's ass in the face in India. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Nini, and just to be clear, Dr. King was he was like almost like a lamb. He was very innocent. Dr. King was groomed from a child. I've heard some wild shit how they followed Dr. King from a little boy. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen, who put up the money for Morehouse and Spelman College. Never forget that shit. Y'all look it up. I'm not even saying it on this space. What's on your mind, Welton?
Yeah, hi everybody. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
All right, good. No, I wanted to just let you guys know that I actually reached out to Hart Seller earlier today when I saw the article in the New York Times about I think it was the New York Times about there was a judge in Washington that blocked the birthright citizenship executive order that Trump had signed. And he did it on behalf of the state of Washington and Illinois and Arizona and one other state. So it was interesting. Hart said that um, what's interesting is that there are a little over 200 cases, lawsuits against our birthright citizenship. And with this blocking of Trump's executive order, um, will catapult that to the Supreme Court justice. So it actually might not be a bad thing, because if it reaches the Supreme Court justice, you know where it's going to go. So I just wanted to share that with
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
That's very
Appreciate it, Welton.
informative. I've been seeing,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
thank
I've
you.
been
actually,
seeing, oh wait, can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I
Right.
can hear you.
I've
Yes.
been,
Are you talking to me? I'm
yes,
sorry.
either person. I've been seeing some statements about Native Americans losing their citizenship because they live on reservations or something. So I'm
Wow.
just checking that out.
Oh wow, that's the first time I'm hearing about
Yeah,
that
it's
one. Yeah,
weird.
that's interesting. No, I just wanted to clarify that because that's a very important this birthright is been abused, and so it was important to share that with you, just to give you some perspective of where it may be going. All right, good night, everybody. I'm going to be going back down to listen.
Appreciate you,
Thank
Weldon.
you. Thanks.
Um, let's see. Go ahead, Tyrell.
Peace and power to everybody in the room. Professor, Nikki, Wani. I just wanted to clear up um, Nat Turner. His history is, if you read his biography, I wouldn't pay any mind to anything that you see in these Hollywood movies because they created to brainwash us and essentially like undermine our thinking and our understanding of who our heroes are. And he was really a hero. Um, he had his mind set on freedom. Um, from the time that he began to learn how to read, when he did learn how to read, he had his mind set on freedom. And they hung him and 32 other men and put their heads on spits. So no, they were not studs. They hung them from a tree. The tree is still standing right now to this day. It's still alive and it's still standing to
Wow.
this day. It's down the street from a church that some Wyndham Cal Rittenhouse joker went and did a shooting not too long ago. I want to say this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and some Cal Rittenhouse joker went. It's a black church. Went into the church and shot it up. So that lets you know, like they know this stuff. And this is related. It's definitely related because the tree is not that far from the church, and the tree is basically like a historical site. They got it labeled as a museum and a historical site because they hung all 32 of them man from that tree and then put their head on that spits, to have an example for anybody else that wanted to get free. And the reason why they got caught, the only reason why they got caught, he was the male version of Harriet Tubman. The only reason why they got caught is because some coon was one of them jokers. Like if you remember the movie, it's a movie, but if you remember the movie Jingo, the character that Samuel L. Jackson played, some joker like that went back and snitched on him because they was planning a big uprising on that plantation. And the next day, the night before, well, they planned it that night. And that night, that same night after they had planned it and had the meeting, this joker went back and snitched on them. And yeah, it because it's called the Nat Turner Rebellion for a reason. And so yeah, it ended the whole rebellion. They went in there and the morning they took them guys out and hung them from trees, all 32 of them at the same time. And I parked my car.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. To put that in context, Dr. Howard Zinn puts that shit in context so cool. Let me find it. If I can't find it in time, I'll just paraphrase it. But yeah, I'll paraphrase it. So basically, was it wasn't Gabriel Prosser was first. It was a sequence of events. We don't understand how much power we have, Black Americans. First, um, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Gabriel Prosser the first? Basically, it was a slave revolt. Um, let's just say it was Gabriel Prosser. Uh,
Yeah, it was Gabriel Prosser. I think it was one of the first
yeah,
ones. That's
Yeah,
the
Gabriel
German
was
rebellion,
rebellion.
if I'm not mistaken. That's the German rebellion on the German coast.
No,
there,
the Gabriel
Or was it?
rebellion was before the German coast uprising.
Was it? I get them mixed
I
up.
found it. I found it. So in 1800, it was Gabriel Prosser. So Gabriel Prosser said, "Fuck this," and got together with a bunch of enslaved Africans. I mean, foundation Black Americans, and was like, got a plan together to strike the white supremacists. And one of the enslaved did some meritorious manumission looking the jumbotron and snitched and got a reward for it. They got Gabriel Prosser killed in 1822. 22 years later, Denmark Vesey came up with a plan. And same shit happened. Almost Denmark Vesey almost pulled it off, but somebody went for that meritorious manumission. You see how meritorious manumission has fucked us up. Well, Nat Turner did that did his rebellion in 1831. So if you look at the years, the time gets shorter and shorter and shorter. It was a rebellion gonna happen no matter what. And Nat Turner pulled it off. Now the books say that Nat Turner killed 50. I don't believe that shit one moment. I believe he killed hundreds of them motherfuckers. I just think they don't want to give him credit for it.
He killed a couple of thousand
That's what
because
I
they was
feel
burning
like.
down whole
I don't
plantations.
think he killed just 50 people. No way. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is it was like a cascade. A rebellion was going to happen, and just like we influence everybody else. Do y'all know? Not long after that, in 1859, that's when John Brown, the white man, said, "You know, we gonna do this right." And John Brown got his children together. His son, John Brown, a white man, and his sons died to liberate us. And on John Brown's death, well, right before he was hung, he said, "Curse on you." I forget the song. Dun, 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 the coming of the Lord. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know if he sang that song, but he said something to the people before they hung him. And not long after that, the goddamn Civil War popped. He said, you killed slaves, you killed me. He said, you're gonna lose your sons just like you took mine. And a couple of years later, playing the same song that was played while he was hung, where the goddamn Union soldiers getting their goddamn head blown off. You know, the Civil War popped off, and sure enough, their sons was dying left. It was like John Brown put a curse on their ass. So, what happens in this system of white, I don't want to say supremacy. Y'all got me all weird about saying that now, but in this system of unfair dominance, so those of you in the space earlier know what I'm talking about. But this system of unfair
Well,
dom-
what are they going to do if we say it? They
I
sounded kind of violent about it. I don't like being bullied.
well, fuck it. In this system of
I
white,
don't use that. I don't use that term a lot, but I don't like people telling me what words to say and then
that's
getting
true, and
mad about
I
it.
shouldn't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't.
I'm right there with you, Wani. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, look, we can't, we got to teach, if we're going to teach our kids, I never used it, but I mean, hell, if it's put out there, your kids going to hear it. They got to know what it means. So even if you're teaching them one way, you could still teach them, hey, but this is what they call themselves. So when you hear this, this is what you know they're trying to say. And you rise above that because they're liars. I mean, however you want to teach it, but you got to teach them the truth. You can't just avoid it altogether.
Right.
So, man, but I'm
What?
sorry. But
No,
yeah, that's
you
why I laughed,
Look,
Professor, because I remember I
I'd
was in
rather
that
fight the
room.
boogeyman than fight the I'd rather fight the boogeyman because at least we'll have a target.
yeah.
All we got to do is teach them that it's at the end of that boogeyman is a man.
Right.
That's all we got to teach them. I'd rather have them teach. I would rather learn that, and teach them that, hey, if it's a boogeyman, it's a boogeyman, and I'd rather fight that boogeyman than to just be fighting nothing and not know who I'm fighting. That's how you lose a war.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
Right.
one of the
Right.
number one rules of the art
I
of war.
think
You got
that
to identify the enemy.
the
You have to identify the enemy in a war, and it has to be
Exactly.
clear.
the
That's
Right. You
true.
gotta they gotta
conversation
know
was
everything.
the conversation was so weird because it's like, well, there's other people doing things to us that's not white. Well, who do you think's
It
getting them to
came out of
do it?
left field. Right. I was like, it's the whites ones that
You're
started it.
working
And
for
then
them.
the
I
whole
mean,
the whole the whole thing was like a system of white supremacy is
and
what
it's a
we're in.
system.
And those other people are who are following it. So you don't have to sit there and say, well, you gotta name everybody. No, you don't. Because we already know we are it's us against everybody else. It's FBA against everybody else in a system of white supremacy. That's all we need to know.
It is because
And that's what we gotta fight.
we're the only one that presses against that system while the other people try to align with it. That's why they're not very successful in South America. They keep complaining about colorism. Well, duh. You never said anything to the lighter skinned Hispanics that were abusing you. What do you expect them to do? They're going to keep slapping you upside the head and doing whatever they want to do and putting you down. I think what they mostly do to them is just put them down and make them feel bad to the point where they have that saying, improve the race, and they want to marry someone white. They're in fact encouraged to marry someone white or someone lighter skinned so that their children uh, don't come out brown. So it that's them.
And
That
if
has
we
nothing
weren't
to do.
here, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
No,
don't
I
know.
was
I
just
thought
going to
you were.
say that's their take on it, and they come up here with the same attitudes. And so, who do you think they're going to align with? Why on earth would people that think like that have that improve the race as a motto, why would we expect anyone from South America or Latin American island to come up here and be proud to join in on the fight against any kind of oppression when they want to be in the seat of the oppressor? That's one of the problems with them.
Yeah, we
And
found this.
if
That's
FBA wasn't here to fight, they would be the ones getting shitted on instead of trying to be added to the crew. Let us all be gone. They would be in our spot, but they wouldn't fight. They would just be getting their asses beat, like and looking for a new country to flee
but that's
to.
what we figured out. The other Dave Capone was talking about in the Haiti space. Same thing with the Haitians. They allowed their warriors to beat the French, but they wanted the overwhelming majority of mulattoes wanted to have their chance. They weren't thinking like we're thinking we want liberation, or what like Neely Fuller says, we want universal man and universal woman. The Haitians weren't thinking that way. They were thinking the mulatto class and the other group of Haitians were thinking, well, shit, this is my chance to be a slave master. And a lot of people think that way. They just want their chance at dominating shit, which is what we don't want. But to close my earlier point, um, with the system of white supremacy, it always fails because it fails to understand that there's a spiritual system as above, so below. And when the spiritual balance of the universe turns on their ass, I mean, they cut off their nose to spite their face. They always lose, you know. But anyway, housing. What's on your mind?
Hey, hello everyone.
Hey,
Housing, what's up,
What's
brother?
going on, player?
What up, though? How's it?
Oh, Professor, one more thing you neglected to mention from that yesterday's historical hit you did on that dirty, musty Haitian was you see how he was deflecting and going towards acceptance and freedom.
yeah. It's a takeover spirit, man. These people. I was tempting to name this space what I say wanted the slave that spirit. It's a
Slave seller spirit.
the slave sellers, but man, these folk got spirits that ain't ours. Like Tariq was really hitting on some shit with Majara, because our spirits are different. You know what I think, and it's just an opinion from me traveling and spending some time in West Africa. I think you can make choices because that's what life is all about, right? Choices. I think there are certain choices that are so egregious that you curse yourself. You know, and I think and you may curse your lineage with this type of shit. And I think some of the decisions made in West Africa to sell your own family for trinkets, you know what I'm saying, to sell your own goddamn family just to get approval from a psychotic entity you don't fully understand. If you believe in a higher power, what would you think a higher power would do that was watching that? If I was a higher power, I'd say, okay, you're gonna sell your own people to somebody you don't understand, curse you for 10,000 years. These people, yeah, these
Punishment.
people walk around with curses on them, man. We don't have that curse.
They do. They do because they did rituals. They was doing rituals every time they sold us. They did rituals because that's how wicked they knew it was, and what they was doing was wicked. They knew what they was doing was wicked. They had rituals, talking to the creator, begging the creator to forgive them. They knew how wicked it was, and what they were doing was wicked, and they were complicit in it. You know, they knew how wicked it was. They had rituals. That movie, The One Woman King, you can kind of see. They give you a small picture of the rituals that they had. You know,
Wow. Well, Tyrell, we're gonna come back to you. Let's go ahead, housing. What's on your mind?
Oh, again, good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir. What's going on, bro? Good to hear you.
You know, I think this is my take on a lot of black people. I think, we allow our psychics to be played with because a lot of black people are so easy to be misled. They believe everything that is told to them, especially the older brothers and sisters. They still practicing trying to hold other groups down while they looking right in our face and seeing our situation and don't even care. When you mention they don't want to give their houses up, they don't want to relinquish power. In other words, they don't want to pass their power down to their kids. They will die and don't give them nothing. And as a result, I feel that it messes the wealth system up. You agree? Because nothing is getting passed down. Well, while the dominant society group have no problem passing their wealth down. I guess what do you call those people again? I'm stuck right here. Our elders. I'm gonna use the word our elders.
The baby
The
boomers.
60, yeah, the baby boomers. You mentioned, Professor, that they 80 years old. They could barely walk into their office, and they don't want to give their power up.
No, my mom retired from the federal government. She couldn't wait to leave that job. And
Well, she's the exception.
yeah, my mom is my dad and mom are rebellious, and they were like the outcasts of the baby boomers. A lot of the baby boomers were conformists. They were just let me get my job, child. Well, anyway, my mom retired from the federal government years ago, as early as she could, and she
Good
was
for her.
and she yeah, good for her. And she was talking about how a lot of the GS-15s, like the high, the regional managers and district managers, were in their 80s. They wouldn't retire. They couldn't make them retire because that was their power. There was their social life. That's just a foreign concept to me as a millennial. If I could retire at 38, I would fucking retire. Like I don't want to be on somebody's job. But the baby boomers, basically, what this is what frustrates me, and I get in trouble for, but I don't give a fuck because this shit directly impacted me.
Talk
Uh,
about it.
Dude, check this out. The way power works, and I'm stealing this from somebody. I forgot who said this quote, but the way it may have been Dr. Ben Carson, but the way power works is one generation has to sacrifice to let another generation have power, and then that next generation has to do a less of a sacrifice, but they have to sacrifice. You have to keep sacrificing. Well, what happened is my grandmama and them, the great generation, the golden generation, Dr. King them, went out there and got their heads blown off so we could have rights. Got hung from trees and cut to pieces. Got bit by dogs and shit so we could have rights. And when the baby boomers got the fruits of all that, what did they do with it? They went and
Kept
bought,
it to themselves.
hell yeah, bought more than one house, bought Benzes and shit. And in my generation, when we were coming up, what has me bitter is they sold me a line of bullshit. They said, stay in school and you can get exactly what I did. That's exactly what the fuck I did. I went to school all the way, undergrad, law school, then went back to graduate school. And and I found out a lot of my colleagues that have my level of education or even higher than me, I'm talking about medical doctors and shit, don't have what the baby boomers have. So why don't they have it? They don't have it because the baby boomers didn't sacrifice for us. The baby boomers should have had institutions ready for us, and they didn't do it.
But
And
also,
go
Professor,
ahead.
at that time, the market, excuse me, the market, the money, the financial status, it was all being pushed out of America. You know that, right?
Yes, sir. And it was yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of the companies that the baby boomers was working on. I mean that they was working for. When the '70s came, a lot of this stuff flipped. When they found out black people was getting money, putting that money away and everything. They said, hold up, time out. We can't be doing this. We can't have these people come up. They're going to be a threat to us.
Bro, I'm so glad you made me think of that. Thank you so much, Housing. My daddy taught me when we were younger. My daddy made a lot. I need to call him. He made a lot of sacrifices so me and my sister could go to the best school, and he saved my life actually because a gang was targeting me and they would have killed me. Girls always kind of liked on me, and I was in the hood at school, and I didn't know about girls. I was played video games and ate cereal and shit. But somebody's girlfriend was trying to talk to me. He was in a gang. That nigga want me dead. My daddy put me in a school. But my point of bringing dad up is dad would always teach me. He says, study your enemy. And y'all remember Rush Limbaugh?
Yes.
Dad would always play Rush Limbaugh on the way to school. I thought he was crazy for that shit. But it finally dawned on me when I was 20. I was like, Dad's right. You need to study. You need to know how your enemy operate. So I start reading the enemy. There's an author named Tom Wolfe. And Tom Wolfe was a racist, but he was a very brilliant writer, Yale graduate, white supremacist. And I read a book, House, and you made me just think of years ago. I don't know where it went, but if shit, I'm gonna try to order it when I'm done with this space. It was called From Bauhaus to Our House. It was a book on architecture, but he writes about culture. But basically, Tom Wolfe he wrote this book in the 70s, and in the book he said in the 60s he said the equality that you're talking about that the great generation got for the baby boomers
Mm-hmm.
was so outrageous that it didn't mean anything to be rich. Like the way Tom put it in an article is rich white men, stock people, attorneys, and like rich upper class white men would go to the Bahamas to Bimini to vacation, and there would be janitors there. The prices were so cheap that everybody could afford to do fly ass shit. You understand? So
Right.
Tom Wolfe said that these rich people start to notice that common janitors and custodians and school teachers and shit were at their spots. Like, why are you here? And Tom Wolfe posited that the elite class of America made moves in the late 60s to make sure that that would never happen again. So our parents, the baby boomers, got in on that time where you could have all kind of fly shit, all kind of houses. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, back the baby boomers could have their wife could go to work. I mean, could stay at home and raise the kids, and they could put two kids through college on one job. I knew a lot of dudes. My uncle was like that. So he let my auntie just sit at home and make babies and shit. Living the
And
dream.
at that time, you could get a house for 15,000.
Hell yeah, they got more than one house, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't inherit that, man. What I inherited.
No,
Yep.
they didn't. They didn't want it. They didn't want to give it up. Some did,
Right.
but like you said, they wanted to keep it. And when it comes to, I have one more thing. When it comes to the
No, you talk as much as
immigrants,
you want, bro.
when it comes to the immigrants, right? They understand the rules of racism. Too many blacks choose not to understand. This is
Preach.
where this is where we get a misconception at. A lot of us choose not to recognize racism. I have a few friends and they literally think that I'm racist. I'm delusional because I'm just pointing stuff out that's happening. Basically, I know where they're getting their information from. They're getting it from the basic TV, you know, the three major channels, Fox, Channel 7. That's all they watch. A couple of Instagram posters. And they try to push that garbage to people. And when you debunk it and throw it in the garbage, they give you the mean look like, yo, you crazy. Something's wrong with you.
Are
You
they in New
racist.
York?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. You know.
Yeah, brother House, and we remember the other day we was in the room when that Haitian was denying facts, talking about that African professor. Who was that dude you had debunked and said he was from Africa and he was just in shambles because you found out he was a traitor? They
Oh,
deny reality, and then they want to be mad at us that we accept our fate.
I forgot. I forgot.
Right.
I've been
Yeah, he
getting.
was
I
talking about
remember.
the dude who had I forgot his name too, but he was schooling them on how Dessalines was massacred, and it was wrote in a history book. And the dude that you found out who wrote the history book was a traitor because he went to go visit his grave in Africa or
Oh
something like
yeah,
that.
W. Du Bois. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see how he was flaunting that history, who was a known traitor to the culture, getting indoctrinated on the wrong path, and then coming over here and telling us what we need to do on our land.
you see how it works.
Yes,
It
yes.
that's man. Thank you, Capone. That's a good example of how psychological warfare is disseminated, man. And I'm gonna tell y'all some slick shit. It's coming from these goddamn books. That's why I put my career on the line. Lost it. I lost the best job I ever had, man.
Don't say that, Professor.
Well, I might get a better one, but
Yeah, you gotta kick that to the curb. It's gonna pop again.
I'm just acknowledging reality. I was an
Right,
administrator. I was a professor and an administrator. Professors don't make money, but my bank was right because I was an administrator. I was on a grant, a researcher. COVID-19 had access to information. One of these days, I'm gonna tell y'all about COVID-19 and those vaccines, man. And
right, right.
it's gonna be 10,000. It's gonna okay, go on. It's gonna be
But
10,000
but
people in here. But
right.
anyway, my point of bringing that up is uh we were talking about W. Du Bois. Yeah, it comes like the way these attacks come from. It's funny. Somebody sent me a text. That's why I laugh. But these attacks come from books, and these books, um, and these talented tenth motherfuckers poison the well. What my brother Capone just let me understand is not only do these motherfuckers poison the well in America, they poison the well in outside of America and send motherfuckers over here with ideologies in their head trying to school me on some shit I knew about. Man, when I was in last time I was in West Africa, I went to their libraries and shit. Their libraries was full of our books. I was so man, it's before I was on Spaces. I didn't have a Twitter. And it just shocked me so bad because Africans, I was so used to Africans saying, let me tell you about your history. I was like, well, shit, tell me about it. You know something, right? I went over there, man, and all they motherfucking libraries at the university in the neighborhood had our books. And if it wasn't our books, it was British books. I was like, how you gonna tell me about my history and you using my goddamn book? You don't know.
Professor, we beat Professor. We the most studiest group in the world.
Facts.
Black America.
We made their whole history for them. We patched it
Yes.
all together, talking about Mansa Musa, Queen Nzinga. They don't have anything they have no ability to do what we did. He had access to all the books and things of that nature. They did not keep any records. I mean, it's ridiculous. How are you supposed to be a more advanced society than the Khoisan? But we can see what the Khoisan put in a cave. We can at least see what they were doing and what their activities were. We can't even do that with the West Africans.
Right. And speaking of books, I went ahead and put my cash up in the Jumbotron. I got like 35 books left. If you want a copy of my book, where I do talk about the Negro Preacher. I talk about a lot of stuff I'm talking about on here. Put $25 on my Cash App and make sure you put your full mailing address and a correct name with the correct zip, and I'll send it to you. I sent another series of books this Saturday morning. FYI.
Hey, Professor,
Yes, sir.
have you ever read a book called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand?
Um, no, but I'm real familiar with Ayn Rand. It's Ayn Rand. It's
Yeah,
spelled
I
Ayn.
always I pronounce it Ayn Rand.
Yeah, Ayn Rand.
Is that the one that is that the lady that wrote the book on objectivism?
Yes.
Yeah, she wrote
Yeah.
Atlas Shrugged. She was a
Yeah,
racist.
but I the Fountainhead, the particular character in that book is called Rourke. And like he talks about like he's the guy that how can I say it?
Take your
We
time.
like him. We
Take your time.
Yeah, we like him. We don't want nobody tell us what to do. But we got all these other people in our ear suggesting what we should do. You know, like these people over abroad. You got all these African peoples making these posters about, oh, black this, black this, black this. My God, you don't have nothing else to do than to talk about us. You
Wow.
understand me? Go play with your cat. I mean, go play with the hyenas, whatever you do over there. You know
Well,
what I'm saying? Do something,
let me give you
but
the
stop eye watching.
let me give you the game right quick. The
Drop it, drop it.
this coming from Doctor Howard Zinn, actually a white guy. Howard Zinn has a very interesting story. I gotta brag on him for a minute. Howard was a navigator, a lieutenant in the United States Air Force. Very proud of being in the Air Force. Air Force pilots tend to be the proud type. They think they special. They are. But Howard was a bombardier, BN bomber navigator on a B-17 bomber during the World War II. And Howard was responsible for dropping bombs on Dresden, a neighborhood in Germany. Howard was very proud of that service, because we won the war, came back to New York proud with his uniform, that type of thing. Well, Howard used the GI Bill to go to Columbia, the dynamite school, to get his degree, his PhD in history. And Howard was in a lecture, a history class, bragging to his professor. His professor was German, heavy German accent. He's bragging about, I killed those Jerry's. Jerry's a term for German. I dropped the bomb. That was me bragging on bombing Dresden. He said, I won the war.
Until
I
he
killed.
found out he killed children.
So he found out he killed you. Hell yeah, exactly. And his professor said, "Can I talk to you for a moment?" He's like, "I lived in Dresden." He said, You didn't bomb a factory. You were killing children." And it fucked him up. And Howard said, like, basically his penance for doing that, he went rogue. He wrote A People's History of the United States, a book that tells the true history. It's one of the wildest books on the planet. And it's just truth. And Howard also taught at Spelman. They ran his ass up out of Spelman. Black people at Spelman didn't want to hear the truth. But I bring that, I gave him a little introduction because I was going to tell our brother House in the game. On page 227 of our People's History of the United States, Dr. Howard Zinn says, she's talking about immigration. And basically what you were saying, housing, is like these people just stay up in our business. Well, like, why don't you handle your shit? You're in our business. Howard says, he's talking about the Irish. He says, how can these new Irish immigrants, themselves poor and despised, become sympathizers with the black slave who is becoming more and more the center of attention? So basically, we're the shit. We are. I'm doing research to find out who we really are. But every once in a while, we become the center of attention again. And Howard saying that the Irish immigrant hated us for it, right? Because they were poor and hungry. Howard says the subject of education in the country. He says, "quote Indeed, the most working class activists at this time ignored the plight of the blacks. Eli Moore, a New York trade union leader elected to Congress, argued in the House of Representatives against receiving abolitionist petitions." And Howard lastly says, "Racist hostility became an easy substitute for class frustration." So, what that means, y'all, is the black American has been scapegoated with this psychological warfare campaign for any group that's stanking, taking a shit in the middle of the street, running away from their fucking homeland. How you gonna be my friend and you run away from your family? I never run away from my family. I die defending my goddamn
What you
family.
say they stinking and they taking a shit in the middle of the street? Damn, Professor.
Yeah, but what did Dr. Zen say? Dr. Zen said racist hostility becomes a substitute. So instead of facing the fact that your auntie Nim was taking a shit in the middle of the street and you stanky and you ain't got nowhere to go to and you just ran your coward ass up out your homeland instead of sticking your chest out like a man and defending your family, you can focus on us and forget about it.
And
Don't worry.
Professor, you po, but at least you ain't black.
Exactly. That's it. Cash gains up in this motherfucker housing. Did you land your plane?
Yeah, no, I have one more thing.
Go ahead, and we're gonna go to Cash then Kanye.
I just wanted to talk about, a lot of those immigrants that come from South America, you know, they get treated dirty by the Blancos down there. This is why they run up here.
Facts.
This is why they run up here. It's what they call them again, the mestizos. There's two groups down there, right? You got the Blancos and the mestizos, right? Correct.
Yeah.
The light one is the Blanco, and the mestizos is the dark skinned one.
Yeah,
and they
that's
and they,
that's correct.
they treat them like dirt. Excuse my language, Wani and y'all. They treat them like dirt shit.
No, you can
So they
cuss on
come
my
up
stage. You
here.
good?
They come up here and practice that same thing towards us.
Remember, Housing. Remember what Doctor Zen said. Racist hostility becomes an easy substitute. So, Doctor, and I don't really fuck with Doctor Greg Carr, but he said something real interesting. Doctor Greg Carr talking about him. He said, "The darker the skin, the louder the Spanish." Right. So, so you get people from the Dominican Republic that look, jet black. They come around me, and then people say, "Hey, you two, come here," and they start speaking Spanish just to let them know, no, 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 I'm not him. I'm Spanish. So that's racist hostility. Basically, when they get here, America has set up a psychological program where even though the brother looked just like me, and he even darker than me, actually, um, he can get out of my the
Blackness,
blackness by having hostility towards me. I,
right?
when I lived in Rochester, New York, I used to get some fire ass haircuts at the it was a Dominican place called Fidel's White House in Rochester. They gave me some fire ass haircuts, and a lot of them, man, like at first the owner would be cutting my hair, but the owner got busy one month, and I went up there, man, they wouldn't fucking cut. I don't know how to cut your hair. Like they had all this vitriol for me. They wouldn't even accept money. I'm like, man, you won't accept money for me? What the fuck?
What was happening?
Just they didn't want to be associated with the brother. You know what I'm saying? They thought
With the
people,
black man, with the black man.
but you know what I noticed, Wani, in housing when I first started going there.
Just out of the blue?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. But when I first started going to get my hair cut there, I didn't really say much. So I think that they may have thought I was Dominican or some shit. But I started getting,
Oh, I get
yeah,
it.
because people be speaking Spanish to me, but
Oh
I
yeah, because I was gonna ask you, don't people be walking up to you and start speaking Spanish out of the blue, Professor?
Dime
right.
paisa, dime no paisa.
They
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
do that to me.
yeah.
but Professor, up there where you was at in Rochester,
Mhm.
most of the black people up there from Florida.
Yeah, it was a lot of that.
Mm.
I actually, man,
Yes,
I fuck with
yes,
Rochester. Rochester got a lot of black history. That's where Frederick Douglass is
yes, they
buried.
do, and Buffalo do too.
Yeah,
That's what.
I fuck
Yeah,
with both of those places. The reason why I decided not to stay because I had a good job, and we were gonna stay up there. But the reason why I made this decision to come back because it was so fucking cold, man. I just, man, you don't know cold like that,
I know. Trust me.
Man, they get snow by like 7 or 8 feet.
Lake.
Bro.
man.
It's
Yep.
called.
It's crazy.
Listen, it's called Lake Effect Snow. It comes
Right.
off of Lake Erie.
It's Lake
Lake
Ontario.
Erie and Lake
Like
Ontario.
yeah,
It's
Lake
two.
Ontario.
Yes, and Professor, one more thing before I close.
Mhm.
That's where Rick James is from.
Yeah, he from Buffalo, man. I fuck with
Yeah.
How did
Buffalo
he get
too.
that crazy being from up there?
What was that, Wani?
How did he get that wild being from up there?
Nah, he got
Man,
over the cap.
Buffalo,
No,
What the
Rochester,
hell?
no.
Y'all
One thing
Buffalo
he
can't
done.
wild
spare
now.
Rochester's
Buffalo.
No,
that
listen.
shit, that shit is rough
Yeah,
up there.
Buffalo is like
Especially in
Harlem.
Yeah,
Rochester.
Tennessee.
Buffalo. Yes, yes, yeah. And the great, one of the top notch, the baddest radio personalities that ever touched the radio, Frankie Crocker from out of New York, a well known.
And another thing, and I know you about to lane playing housing, but
Yeah, and I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
appreciate you,
Thank you.
brother. Cash gains you up, but one more thing before you come up, man. Upstate New York is fucking beautiful. Like you wouldn't think so. I'm talking about farms and
Is that Finger
vineyards.
Lakes area?
Oh yes,
Or is that another area?
No,
Yeah,
that's
because they
the
got
area,
Niagara
Wani.
Falls
That's
and
the
all that up
area.
there.
it's so beautiful. Like
Mhm.
you don't think of New York, as being looking like that. Why look up Watkins Glen and type images. I mean, hit images. It's just fucking gorgeous up there. It's hard to believe. Cash Gains. Then we gonna go to Kanye. What's up, Cash?
Hey, yeah, peace to the room. I'm not sure if I fully understood the title, but it got me thinking. Did you want to refresh it, or should I just go in? Let me. What I
Oh yeah. We were arguing. It wasn't enough space to put everything, but we were arguing that immigrants don't get FBAs. We don't get immigrant scholarships. but they take all our shit. Like, I mean, how many immigrants on a scholarship, a Harriet Tubman scholarship or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it don't go the other way around. We don't get their scholarships.
Yeah, I remember it was a Miss Juneteenth
Yep.
that got a scholarship, and it was she said that she was going to put it all towards her nonprofit. That's for helping people get clothes in her native tribe back on the continent. And to me, I was like, that's a funnel one directionally. It's not a relationship that's beneficial to both parties, and she's not a descendant of those who were freed under the emancipation or the 13, you know what I'm saying, like what. I pinned up a whole group of people who've been receiving Juneteenth awards that are not of our lineage, just so we can start to bring more attention to this and make sure it's not a trend that continues, as well. There's a bullet point list that I have screenshotted that shows the first black. I'm gonna read some real quick. The first black vice president, Kamala Harris, is actually Jamaican Indian. First black attorney general, excuse me, first black attorney general, Eric Holder, was Caribbean descent. First black woman president of Harvard Law is Nigerian. First black editor in chief of Harper's Bazaar is like Lebanese Trinidadian. Anyway, so you get it. There's a lot of they want to be black when it comes to them getting access to things, but we don't get access to those things. Instead, they say that it was us who had access to them. The last example I wanted to mention was Botham John. Uh, um, I remember I was terrorized for a week walking around my own home that someone had been killed in their house with a bowl of cereal in hand. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect. But come to find out that he's an immigrant, and they kept telling us that we all black the same. We all need to find a way to come together to get over this. But there's a Botham John Foundation that only allows Caribbean migrants to have access to the foundation's grants.
That's why they can take their asses back home.
Come on.
Coming up here to be ethnic bigots.
Hey,
Welcome to America. You can be an ethnic bigot here. No, they can leave.
Yeah, and the thing that frustrates me to the ninth power, believe it or not, I'm not the type to get upset and cuss, and but it's kind of changes my personality sitting back and watching foundational Black American fucking children trying to get that degree and struggling and just being looked over and picked over by other about baby boomer foundational Black Americans who give the money and give the scholarships to people from Jamaica and West Africa. Just jump right over them and hey, here's the money. They think it's cute to do that, and they take
Yeah,
it.
it's
Go ahead.
really just off-putting.
It's right.
Cash, were you finished? Cash?
I had a Langston Hughes poem I wanted to entertain us with, but maybe if it comes back around to me, I don't know if I've held the mic too long.
No, no, no. You're gonna give us
No,
that
go
poem.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I love Langston Hughes, and I was speaking to another poem that he had just written. Excuse me, that I felt like was pertaining to the conversation I was having previously about a Freedmen's Bureau in San Francisco. But it was called the Dream Keepers Initiative, and that was based off of another poem of his, not the Dream Deferred one. But and my favorite one by him is Beaumont to Detroit, where he compares Hitler to Jim Crow. But the one I wanted to read, I have here, One Way Ticket. Langston Hughes says, I pick up my life and I take it with me and I put it down in Chicago, Detroit, Buffalo, Scranton, any place that is north and east and not Dixie. I pick up my life and I take it on the train to Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Seattle, Oakland, Salt Lake, any place that is north and west and not south. I am fed up with Jim Crow laws, people who are cruel and afraid, who lynch and run, who are scared of me and me of them. I pick up my life and I take it away on a one way ticket. Gone up north, gone out west, gone.
Beautiful.
I wanted to shout it out because I've done my lineage, or at least gotten back to 1879. And I wanted to shout out my ancestors who would have me, if I was ever deported, I'd be deported back to Louisiana. So shout out to my fam.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Cash.
Louisiana.
Hey, you better leave our parts alone here. Kanye, what's on your mind, bro?
Yeah, what's going on, man? It's been a minute since I've been up here. I don't know, my
Bad.
space be Twitter be glitching sometimes. But how y'all doing?
Well, how you doing, bro?
A few things. I know just you were talking about the Dresden situation. I was just reading a book about that, about how the British it's crazy. So there's the thing called Bomber Command during World War II. That's the outfit that guy was a part of. And they did very good work as far as immobilizing a lot of the Nazi manufacturing places. And it's really interesting because um, I was reading this essay this guy wrote about that situation because the story you told is very famous. And there are theories that it wasn't actually kids; it was actually a what do you call it? Uh, a supply manufacturing plant they blew up. And the professor knew that. He just wanted to fuck with the guy psychologically.
Oh
It,
wow.
and that's the type of shit that they were doing. Remember, Columbia University is where a lot of those people went after Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, those fucking yeah. We all heard what Kanye just said. Man, Columbia is where those goddamn Nazi scientists went, and Columbia is where the feminism and all these weaponized ideologies came out of Columbia, man. But go ahead, Kanye. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because everything they teach is anti-fascism, which was everything Germany was about. And the idea was to poison um, the moral fabric of America from inside. So they would think they would take the best and brightest minds and then shape them to be a tool against American society. And you see that playing out when you see Obama comes from there and a few other people. It's a conspiracy theory, but if you look hard enough, you can kind of see the whole, like it's like a little string holding it all together. It all kind of goes right back to Colombia and the resentment they had toward America for entering the war in the first place. Because it wasn't for that. The Zimmerman Telegraph, they didn't get that, then America went into the war. But there's a couple theories out that America made that up, but we'll never know. But that's all I want to add to the conversation. And if I was to get deported, it would actually be back to Mississippi. Greenwood, Mississippi is well as far back as I traced on my dad's side.
Greenwood, yeah, it's Greenwood's down the street from I think Valley. There's a lot of pretty girls there, Mississippi Valley. One of them colleges is down the street. That's by Ida
Mississippi
Bingham.
Valley, I think, and then Jackson is
Mississippi
further
Valley.
south.
That's it. Mississippi Valley. Mississippi don't have man. Mississippi's weird, man. It ain't nothing there. William Tecumseh
Eh,
Sherman.
it's in spurts. So like you got South Haven
Yeah,
right outside of
Memphis.
Memphis, and then you got like um Biloxi. Then you got
Right.
they got some there's some spots there. Oxford's pretty nice, but that's fine.
But that's not my point. You're right. There, I used to shop in South. I kind of miss Memphis, y'all. But anyway,
Got a little strip mall right out there where
oh man, I miss it, yeah, man. But
the little
but check,
Bath and Body Works. Yeah,
but
Memphis.
but but the weird part, Kanye, is there are long swaths of nothing in Mississippi because of that Civil War. But my point of bringing this up is Mississippi, if it don't have nothing, it got some of the prettiest fucking women. I don't know why girls look so good in Mississippi. You just go. We used to go to fucking Walmart in South Haven and be like, damn.
See, that's
That,
why I used to love to go to South. Like when we went shopping, well, you know how it is. You go on Third Street, get the clothes, or you go to Wolf Chase or the Southland Mall. But then you always got to make that stop in good old South Haven, see what's popping.
yeah,
Sometimes
buddy.
too. Yeah, let me stop. I'm going to some doxing myself.
Aha. You live in Memphis, Kanye?
I used to for a little while.
Oh, okay, okay. No cap. Appreciate it, Kanye. No taxation. What's on your mind, love?
Not a whole lot. What y'all got going on today?
Well, we actually talking about your world of psychological warfare. Could you explain? Because you're a psychologist, right?
Listen, it's so deep out here.
Talk about it. Wake it
Well,
up.
you touched on it. You got to understand that some people are marked at the beginning of life,
Yep.
and they follow these people, and these people don't even know they're marked, but they
Mm-mm.
see something. They see something, and they throw things in their path to guide them in the way they want them to be guided. without even their parents' knowledge.
Can I say something right quick? Can I
Go
wake
ahead.
something up for you?
Go ahead.
And this is I was debating on whether I want to say this on the internet, but I'm gonna say it. According to our brother Bobby Hemmett, y'all heard with taxation, they say they know who you are because special people, special children are born with destinies and stuff. And Bobby Hemmett said, well, they were like, how do they know who the children are? They said, well, what do they do when you get out the hospital? What type of information they get out? Well, Bobby was like, they get your footprint, the baby's footprint, right? Bobby said they can connect the like a palm reader reads palms in the lines in your hand. Bobby was like, they can read the lines in your foot and tell who you are, what you've come to do. And why is that deep? That's deep because anybody in here know who owns the birth certificates? What entity owns the birth? Yep, the well, according to Bobby Hemmett, it's the Vatican. So they scanning in your feet, according to Bobby Hemmett, knowing who you are, knowing if you're a chosen one, already knowing.
Oh, wait.
They do.
The
They know.
Vatican has my feet over there.
It's part of the. It's part
Eight
of an
million,
agreement
eight
between the
billion
United
feet.
States government and the Vatican. Yes, yes,
8 billion
So
feet.
that's why they're
They,
probably panicking because they're sitting there supposedly looking for our next Messiah, but we don't always have births in the
right.
hospital, so we have them at home, and they just don't know now.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. But Wani, yeah, when you those little cards with your feet print is on it, it gets scanned into a computer, and according to Bobby Hemmett, they got records of that, and the computer already
Oh,
aligns.
computer.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I'm too old for that.
They probably know who you are too.
They didn't have my feet.
They didn't.
girl, you've been in the Guinness Book of World
I'm
Records. Everybody
running.
know you.
I had my
You ain't
fingerprints
gonna be
taken
able
a
to
million
hide.
times.
How you gonna hide? I know that's right. But I wanted to say a couple of things. Let's not. Hello to everybody in the room, and trust everybody as well. Let's not forget about the 50-year loop. And I preach this, and I've been preaching it for a long period of time. Every time a generation of black folks grows up, what they do is bring stuff back out that happened to us in the past. That you'll see all the slave movies coming and how we depicted and all that different kind of stuff, and then they take the money away. Okay, because everything you said about the boomers was correct. It really was. It's a golden missed opportunity. And that's why I keep preaching to you all about please don't miss this opportunity because you all are sitting in the catbird seat and you all are in a position to break that 50-year loop. My grandmother told my mother about it. My mother talked to me about it. My mother is 94 years old. So that's how long this thing has been going on. It's been going on for generations. And this is part of the white supremacist system. And if you all break it, and y'all have enough power, you have enough smarts, you have enough chutzpah, you got everything you need to break that. Because after what you all pulled for this campaign, honey, everything is possible. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And then, Professor, after you get these other 35 books out your way, can we count on you to maybe take a topic or two out of the book and discuss it, maybe something like that, and explain the book to us and all
Oh
this kind
yeah.
of thing? I'd appreciate that. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting. It's very interesting, but I feel like the tables have turned. Things are different. Who said that was Dr. Phil Valentine. He said he brought to my attention that we're in a 9 year. It's a very powerful year. It's a completion. It's like something's over, and I think the oppression of the foundational Black American is that's over with. You know what I'm saying? We've had it. We done.
Let me just
Yeah, I
add
think
this.
that's what he
Let
was
me
saying.
add this because I didn't get to answer your questions about this system that confines us. It's so powerful it shackles the mind. It shackles your soul. It shackles your
Mm,
spirit. That's how deep it is. It gets past the shell and goes into the core of you. You see?
wow.
That's why you have to take everything lightly over there. Study it, know what it is, and move on. Don't allow it in your spirit. because what I'm telling you is that things that are existing even today for you all have been existing for years, but it is so perfected now. It's very lab like, very scientific, very tech. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I did some work in 2023, I believe, down in the Fifth Ward in Houston, where the babies were being born with their intestines on the outside of their bodies rather than the inside of their bodies. So you see, it's a very sinister system that we're dealing with. Very sinister. They've been studying us and experimenting on us on ways that we don't even know. And truth to tell, the earth is gone. If you, it can heal itself, but it's gonna have to shake somebody up off of here, like it has in the past, in order for it to go on. Because truthfully, white boys have fucked up the thing. If you excuse me for cussing, but that's really what happened. They have messed up the air, they have messed up the water, and they have messed up the land. And it's so sinister to the point where you can't go to the grocery store and know what kind of food that you're going to get. It looks so pretty. Put it in your basket and see if you can cut it, eat it. It's going to taste real good. And then when you get it inside, it's going to be poison to your system. That's how bad
Wow.
Miss
it is out
Wilson
there.
and Professor.
All that glitters is not gold.
My fault. Go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead. I was just speaking the old saying, all that glitters is not gold. Adding on to no taxation. When she was talking about the food. No, go
No, I'm
ahead
saying,
though.
but that's why it's cold too, because they've been doing this thing called stratosphere aerosol injections, and it's to the point they did it so much they can't stop now. They have to keep doing it, or the planet's going to heat up to a point it's like shit is going
What
to
is
cook.
that?
That what they pretty much do in the air. What is that called? What we see them do every that chemtrail stuff. That's what it's really called, stratosphere
Hmm.
aerosol.
And they've been doing that since the 50s. Since the 50s. So
Yeah,
imagine what they got going on
What's
now.
the reason for them doing it?
Well, it's weather manipulation.
and it cools off the
Started
planet.
out as started out as we're gonna grow more food for America. We're gonna
Because,
grow the biggest, most best food in America's ever seen. So what we got to do is seed the clouds,
yeah, but
and that's how they started back in the 50s. But really, it's extended beyond that. It's so sinister to the point now where what they're putting in the air now is something I've never seen before. Because when I live upstate New York, where it's very pretty and very nice, and the air is still clean. And when the snow fell the other day, the snowfall came. I guess it was Sunday night. I looked at it. I went out there and looked at it. Do you know what it looked like? It looked a little bit like confetti. It
Wow.
looked a little bit like little hard balls of styrofoam. And so, and I have a dog that I take to the dog park, and there were chunks of ice there. And the next day it warmed up and everything was gone except for those chunks of ice and those little confetti like things that were in the snow. So, what is that? What's killing us? What's killing us?
you notice
That's the
how
But Dick Gregory
chemicals,
told me
sis.
a long time ago
you notice how
that they ain't got no business spraying for mosquitoes in Chicago in the hood because it's no trees and shrubs in the hood, and mosquitoes live out in nature. So you see, something has been sinister and wrong with how we eat, how we breathe, how we walk, how we wear clothes for a long, long period of time.
And if you notice, they only did that in black neighborhoods because I remember that. I grew up there. I was a small kid in between the ages of 4 and 5, but I remember that. I remember
but
the mosquito trucks coming around, and I
They did
always
that
wondered,
the
like,
too
why
in
the
purpose
hell
of
they
the
keep
Sanford
doing
and
that?
Valley.
the purpose of
They
the
did that.
stratosphere
They did
aerosol
that to
injections.
the.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Juan.
I'm sorry. They did that to the San Fernando Valley, which was not black. And they said, "Oh, just stay in the house," and it peeled the paint off the car.
Wow.
Yeah, but the purpose of the stratosphere aerosol injector is to cool off the planet, because you notice every summer it's been getting hotter and hotter and hotter to the point they can't bear it. That was the whole point of it. But now they've done it to it so much is they can't reverse it. So it was like we're pretty much in a damn cycle. Like you said, they destroyed the planet, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
They did. And
Remember,
then
they
what's going to
nuked
have
it.
to happen is the earth is just going to have to shake some stuff up. And that's just the way it's always been. You're not going to
Hmm.
mess with an earth, a planet, mankind, whoever think they can, oligarchs think they can come in here and do whatever they want to. You can't control a planet. You ain't that. And I'm gonna tell you something. The other thing about it is the gates of hell are open. Now, this is way off topic, but the gates of hell are open. So I'm standing in the Sam's Club waiting on my husband to come pick me up from the Sam's Club. I ain't really buying nothing, so I got one little item and I'm standing out there because it's cold. And lo and behold, what walks past me? I promise you it was two elves. Now y'all think I'm playing. If I had the sense enough to pull my cell phone out and take a picture, I would have. And they had one of those trolleys that you bring into Sam's Club full of snacks and different types of stuff. And it was all odd because I said, well, they can't be selling it because you could usually tell the people that buy stuff to sell it, you know. I said, well, they ain't selling nothing because they don't have any repeat stuff. And I looked at them real good. They both of them stood about 4'9", something like that, not even 5 foot, had pointed ears and everything, sticking out and everything. Looked like they was twins. I ain't playing.
What?
I
And so I
had to
kept,
laugh. Excuse me.
What
wait a minute,
city
I'm
was
almost
this?
finished. I
What
looked at him
city?
and I said to myself, are these elves? So I said, well, let me say something and see if they speak English, you know. I said, so is that for the inauguration party? And smiled real big. They didn't know what to do. They looked like they had got caught at something. They looked startled. And then they just smiled.
What
Didn't say a
city?
word and kept walking. I'm in upstate New York. I'm out here in the woods where it's
You
not clear.
probably looked into their dimension.
Well, we got, yeah, because we got witches and everything out here too.
What part of upstate, you
Witches?
don't mind me
Where
asking?
do
I'm
you
in
live?
Orange County. Orange County.
Oh, that's not
Why do
far.
they call it
No, it's not
orange?
far from the city at all. It's only an hour and
That's
15 minutes from
that's
Hartford.
across the water. That's across the
On
water
the
for me.
western side. Yeah, on the western side of the
Do you
Hudson Valley.
guys have oranges?
No,
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 Wani, that's just the
no, but we
county.
got some
Why do they
vineyards.
call it Orange County?
Girl, I don't know. You know,
But one
you
thing
ask.
I do
I
know,
need to
That
be
makes no
asking you.
sense.
they they have black bear up there where you at.
Yeah, Black Bear Mountain. Uh-huh. They got black
No,
bears.
I'm
They got
talking about bear, a
Yeah, they got
black
all the
bear.
nature. All the nature is here.
Yeah.
Everything about the nature is up in here. But they got elves and witches. Now look, y'all. And they got a bunch of those Hasidic Jews and stuff. You know, you got to pick and choose
But you
America.
said they looked shocked, right?
They did and didn't say a word.
You weren't supposed to see them, right?
I think that's what that was. I think they
I
had
know
on,
all about elf sightings.
they tried to have a regular clothes on. You know, they tried to look, you could tell that they really tried to look regular. I
How
said,
tall were they?
girl, probably about four or something. They wasn't 5 foot.
And
They
they
were
were
not.
not people of small stature
No, they were very small
because
stature.
they had pointed ears. I mean,
They did
regular
have pointed
humans.
ears. And they didn't have hats on. I said, that.
Were they, and you don't feel that they were just um
I don't ain't never seen nothing like that in
small
my life.
people that
No, I have never. Whiny,
happen
I'm
to
telling
have
you.
ear
No.
deformities?
Uh. And look,
And
and they were twins
Wani.
too.
I'm
And 4 foot
trying.
five. I know it, girl. No, it was so. It was so striking to me because it was so out of place and it was so odd. And when I said something to them and they looked at me and looked so startled, I knew they hadn't expected me to say anything. They were trying to breeze through, you see, and um, and they didn't because of my nosy ass. I wanted to hear them talk, but they wouldn't say a word. They did
Wait, they were
smile.
going into a store with a cart?
No, they were leaving the store with a car.
You
They have
think they
flat
shoplifted from their
carts.
dimension?
Say it again.
You
Say it
think
again.
they were shoplifting from their dimension?
They didn't shoplift because they had their receipt.
Wani said from their dimension.
Well, maybe they was taking it back to the alien spaceship because I swear to God, because I believe that. See, now here we go. This is my own personal conspiracy theory. I believe Elon Musk is an alien. And I believe that the gates of hell is open, and I believe all the aliens feel welcome to come here because Elon Musk is coming over here. And I think everything he does on stage is performative, and I think behind closed doors, he's the most dangerous man that the earth could ever have. That's what I
You,
believe.
but they weird. But listen, they
But
weird
well,
up there anyway. They elevators don't go up in Orange County. It's well known.
well, It's a lot of
Why?
Hasidics here. It's Hasidic.
Huh?
There's a lot of Hasidic Jews here because this is the foot of the Catskills. This
Yes.
used to be the Catskills was the place where the rich Jews, Frank Sinatra and all them, the mob Jews and the
Yeah.
Jews, used to go up there. But all that has been over for decades. And it is gorgeous here, and the air is clean here, and we don't have those planes flying around putting stuff in our air. See, because white folks live here. The majority of the people that live in Orange County, though, that are not from the county, come from the city. And we've had a real big influx of Black Americans leaving the city and coming this way because, the living is easy and the air
No,
is
a lot
clean.
of my friends. Listen, a lot of my friends live up there because the market price up there is very cheap.
Yeah, it is. For New York,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, for New York, it's very cheap.
Orange County
Yeah.
is well known for Black
And it's if
Americans.
you get the right get to the right place in Orange County, you can hit the highway and I mean
'87.
I can be in North Jersey in like 35, 40 minutes, and I can be in Harlem in like an hour and 15 minutes. So
87 straight down.
you know what I'm saying? It's not bad for me. Uh, and then I can hit 95, which is important for me because I have to, go to work sometime. But
I'm a
so
little further down from you, sis. I'm in New York too.
what part of New York you in?
I'm in Westchester.
Oh, you on the other side of the river.
Water. I just said that. I'm on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, you on the
But
other
I'm
side.
down from you. I'm like an hour from you, hour and a
Yeah. Yeah. I don't cross the river, honey. I
half.
don't go to New York. Look,
You
it's
don't come across the
it's
Tappan.
too bad acting. I go over there with the peoples in Bergen
You
County.
don't come across the Tappan Bridge.
I'm not going around there, and I don't cross there. If I go in there, my husband might take me because he's from Harlem, but and then the Bronx. But so he goes back over there, and I'll ride with him. But as far as me getting in my car and going down there for what? No,
Right.
I don't even go to the airport down there no more. I use my local. So, but
Okay.
it's cool. It's cool. It is. As long as any place is cool, as long as you can get on a highway or get on a plane.
No,
That's the way I
listen.
live.
It's very clean up there. Very, very clean.
It is.
It's beautiful,
It is. It is.
Now
especially
let's
the
get back to
summertime.
these witches you were talking about.
The elves, girl. We know about the witches. It's the elves we
What do they
don't
and
know about.
what do the witches do? Do they look startled
I
or are they just
remember
walking
being at.
around?
Well, no, let me tell you, 2 or 3 years ago, I remember I was sitting in the car with my husband, and we pulled up at the gas station. We were on our way home, actually. And so he gets out to pump gas, and this van pulls up. It's what convenience store, gas station kind of thing. And this van pulls up, and all these white women get out, and they have all these long dresses on. And you could tell they were witches. They had dark dresses, long skirts, and stuff with the long hair, and they're just laughing and sound like cackling hens. And so he gets back in the car. And I said, the witches came out early this year, didn't they? He said, oh, you saw that, didn't you? So, and I didn't think he noticed. But yeah, yeah, they have witches here. They actually, when what is it called? When the moon changes into winter or something,
Yeah, winter
yeah, they go
solstice or
out there
something.
and they have this big, they howl at the moon and whatever they do out there. I don't know what they're
Okay.
doing, but they do go
Um,
out there because they tell it on TV. It's a big thing. It's televised and everything. Girl, they
okay.
put it on the
I
news,
think
but they
I
don't say the
saw
witches convened. They have another way.
I think I saw that before. Hey Queen Nene, what's up? She might have went to sleep. Queen.
Hey, I'm sorry. What do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the professor's book. I can't go outside my budget and I won't get paid until the 31st. And I wanted to make sure he still had a book. If he will be able to have a book. I think he said he has 35 books left.
Yeah, I'll save you one. I got 34
Okay.
left. I'll save you one.
Okay. Okay. That's all I wanted to wanted to ask. Thank you.
Got it, Nene. All right, where were we? This has been a very interesting discussion. I kind of went to the restroom when no taxation was talking about elves. So where were you walking? You were walking. That's the type of stuff is interesting to me. So you were walking where in upstate New York?
Yeah, I was in. It was not in my town because my town is not a place where commerce is done. Really, it's the commerce is not done here, but in another town where they do have a Sam's Club, and I was just standing there, waiting on my husband to pull up, and so I can get in the car, and they were going through. I'm telling you, the gates of hell are open, y'all. You're going to see some
Wow.
things you've never seen before in your lifetime. You really are. This
I've
is
heard
going
this
to be the
before.
yeah, this is going to be the most differentest journey, lifetime journey that I've ever been on and that you all will ever have been on. And I'm not just talking politically, I'm talking mostly spiritually.
That's what
Because,
Doctor.
see, everything is going to be revealed. If your eyes didn't get open in 2024 and you came out of there unscathed, you better be careful about 2025. Because I'm going to tell you something straightening is happening. It just is. It has to. It has to. The world doesn't work in the way that we want it to all the time, and it has to self correct. And it's going to do it any way it can. Not just the earth, not just the people, not just the system, not just politics, everything. It has to. It has to self correct. Otherwise, it
Wow.
can't go on.
That's you're not the only person to say that. Several metaphysicists have said that, and Dr. Philip Valentine said something very similar. He said this is going to be a very powerful year. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and I will say so for black folks. I think the lesson for us at the end of the year is going to be, wow, my safety was in my people. I think
Yes, that, but but that. Thank you so much. No taxation. That's the lesson that I think the Creator is trying to teach us. Is it you have everything you need with each other because it's not our fault, but we were psychologically programmed to go against each other, to be ashamed of each other, and that's the key. I've learned that from being on spaces. Y'all know I've learned more from y'all than I learned in grad school. Like y'all
I
feeling
told
the
him the same thing though, Professor. I told him the exact same thing. That's why I stick around. Them other boomers is missing out, baby, not me. I ain't crazy and I ain't stupid. I'm gonna learn. Okay.
right.
I learn a lot of things too on here. People fill in the blanks of a lot of
They fill in
stuff.
the blanks. Yes.
They give me some keywords to look up to add to my information. So, yeah, I really learn a lot on here. Probably every day. I would go so far as to say every day I learned something new.
This is a university. We all in class. Iron sharpen iron. Each one teach one.
And it's gonna be interesting to see how we move the next 4 years because we're sitting in the catbird seat. But black folks have a history of self sabotaging. And I think that comes from fear, and I think it comes from tradition, you know, politically. And I think hopefully we have broken through those things and have seen through, the crap that they feed the public to keep their people in line. But having said that, this administration is not your friend. And you got to understand that. We really don't have any friends. But we're not here to make friends either. So it really don't matter. You understand what I'm saying? We're not looking for friends. We're looking for our piece of the pie. And,
Yep. And the biggest threat is the controlled opposition
yeah.
to
And
that.
yeah,
Coons.
exactly. And so we all we have to do is stay focused, not get distracted, and don't fall out too bad, to the point where you really can't stand each other and would try to take each other down. As long as you don't do that, you can fuss fight all you want to, but as long as you don't try to take each other down, we're gonna make it, and we'll probably get something out of this. Not everything we want, I will say it that way, but we probably can get something out of this. Because see, here's the thing about rich white boys. They'd rather just go ahead and pay you off. They don't want to be bothered. See? And hopefully we can fall into that category. Just pay us off. We don't want you to be bothered with us no more.
which will be just fine.
Yes, exactly. That's what we want. That's what we really want. And if you put it to them like that, make them an offer you can't refuse. Hey, you know, we get this from the federal government, and then we will be gone from the rest of this over here. They can shut down all them programs they got on the Democratic side. They should be happy about that. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna leave it there.
Well, my one concern, no taxation about paying off, is like our sister Wani brought up. They they're I'm trying to think of a professional way to say this. They have a what's the desirability sexually about that group? It's A, being proximal to power, and B, being proximal to wealth. So would that group give up money when money is its main claim to fame?
Gonna be tough because with money comes power,
Mm,
not whiteness. But do you think a white woman is that interested in just being married to somebody because they're white? No, they want money and they
mm-hmm.
want power, and they're losing both. So the whiteness is not going to carry it anymore.
Right. I'm concerned about that one. Anybody else want to come up and contribute?
I have a question, Professor.
Come on, bro.
Hey, this goes to both of you and Wani. You notice, like, they practicing this fear mongering stuff, right, towards Black Americans, and as a result, it gets them to start flipping on each other. We got so much division among the team and the peoples. It's crazy. This
Right.
is why we got to practice on being mindful of what they throw into one person, and that person is like a plague, just goes out and spread the bullshit. You follow me?
Right. Well,
Because of, you know I'll give you an example. You see the stuff Trump is doing,
right.
and you got the left going crazy. They literally going crazy, like the world's coming to an end. Oh my God! Oh my God! You see what he doing? You see what he doing? My family members in my ear, like, leave me alone.
What are they
Nothing,
crying about? What are they saying?
Yanni.
The immigrants?
Yeah, not yes. I, you know,
What the
they
hell?
Yeah, they want us back on board with the
yes.
bullshit
There you
agenda
go,
again.
fam. They sympathizers. I'm not a sympathizer.
Yeah, nah, hold on nuts.
And
We
listen,
got our
this
own
is right in
problem.
my family. They literally are
I know. I
sympathizers.
have the same thing.
And like my nephew hung up on me earlier. He literally hung up on me. Like,
But it's only my New York family.
yo, I just don't believe it. So I had to blow him up on a text. I said, the stuff that you try to push on me, I know where you're getting it from. You got to come better
Give
than
me
that.
an example of what he's pushing on you.
Uh, he's mentioned, oh, Trump is going to put us back in slavery in
Okay, that's
1965.
the
Like,
check this out.
stop it. Stop it.
What I mean, it's probably too late, but how about if we hold our opinions, which are correct opinions, and we just don't really share them? Like, just downplay your opinions so you don't get into fights with your
Right.
family members. Because some of these people are really super brainwashed, and I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's not everywhere in the country is not messed up like that, but clearly there is a problem in New York. They're not able to tell the difference, and they just don't see it that way. So,
Wani, my sister, I gotta be nice to her. I can't talk no politics. I can't
yeah,
mention nothing. She
don't.
will literally, like, won't speak with me for a whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, just leave it alone. That's why there's a curtain in the voting booth. Just leave it alone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just put the TV on for him, like Bobby Hemming say.
You know, we, me and a couple of guys, you know how we get on the phone and just talk, you know? So my nephew calls, he's trying to bring me into the mess. Trump this, Trump that. Can we talk about something else? So he gets mad when I ignores him, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could get him on here right now. He's just getting off work, but I'm gonna try to get him on the space. I'm gonna try to do a 2-way with him. I'm gonna bring him on the space, and I want y'all to light his ass up, set his ass on fire.
No,
Here,
he
he'll
needs
hang up
to.
anyway.
Yeah, he's too far gone. I would just leave him alone and just say I don't want to talk about politics.
I told him that earlier, Yanni. I said, listen, you called me for something else that we was discussing, but you just bring Trump into the picture. Like, leave me alone with
Listen,
Trump.
Because no matter what these people are doing, it's gonna happen anyway. So
Exactly.
it's going our way, and no matter what they say, these some of these people's neighborhoods are gonna get cleaned up, whether they like it or not. They're literally fighting to live in filth.
Yes.
Rats running across all the place, people barbecuing rats on the sidewalk. They're literally fighting to live in filthy conditions.
It's one area where I go past in another town, and it's like at least like 20 Africans out there on electric bikes. Like 20 of them, like literally got the street blocked. It looked like they didn't bathe in God knows how long.
Doctors do that?
No,
wow,
they,
she's being
no.
sarcastic.
I know what you mean, but but they Ubering, what you call it? Ubering,
Ubering?
yes. They waiting to get
What street? That
this
street
is
where I used to buy fake handbags?
no, this is further up. It's in a
I forgot
like
what street I was on.
I know it's only two places where they sell fake bags at, Wani.
Tell us. Canal Street
Canal
and
and
what else?
27th.
Up, you're telling bad information on the internet.
Canal. Oh, did you see the lady get run over when the police was chasing the guy selling the what's her name?
N- You mean the Jewish
The
lady
yeah, with the
and her husband
pocketbooks.
that got knocked over when they
Yes,
were chasing the. Oh, that was
yes,
over pocketbooks?
yes. Because they come out there, they bring them out there, and they'll push them, but they'll run from the police.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just made a raid last month. No, 2 months ago.
Was that related to this new issue or some other stuff?
No, that's what everybody thinks. They just making a raid. They probably got to get their wives some pocketbooks. The police, because
Yep.
they
I
take that stuff
know.
and they keep it themselves.
Yep, they
Yes,
sure
they get
do.
first dibbies.
Hmm.
You know, listen, a rich white friend of mine, white lady, she says, Daryl, it's like a, it's like a, how was she? What did she say? She said it's like it's fashionable knowing that you got a fake pocketbook. Among that's what she says among her white friends. She could afford the real deal, but it's like I'm hip. I got a fake pocketbook.
A lot of those knockoffs is made with better quality than the real ones. They hold up longer and they made from real material, low key, quiet as cat.
They getting better. They getting better.
Yeah, they did
They getting better. They getting better. Let's put it like that.
yeah.
There's a lot of static.
That's a good point. That name brand, like real high fashion, don't necessarily mean high quality.
Right.
Yeah, I bought some Prada stuff back in the day, that was broke so fast. I got some back in the day $300 Prada sunglasses. Yeah, they were fly as hell, but they broke just like some cheap sunglasses. I was like, man, why did this break?
Yeah, but New York is where you at. They got everything.
Right?
Now, which ones are high quality and they're designer, according to you?
Dolce and Gabbana.
Dolce Gabbana.
Yep.
I would say Louis Vuitton, because if you like you can literally
There you
take
go.
like your broken purse and stuff. Like my mom even told me that she was like, "Nee, we gonna take your wallet back." I'm like, "Wait, we ain't gotta pay for that?" And it's like, "No, you could take it back and
Mm-hmm.
they do the repairs, because your
Yep.
receipt is inside the box, so you take it there." So, but Louis Vuitton is basically known for luggage, so. They're used to doing that. But yeah.
Nordstrom was good for that too. I don't know how many pairs of tennis shoes or boots that I took back after wearing them for a few years, and they just take them right back. They don't care. But I mean, I would always swap them out, but for something new and end up paying for something else too.
Yeah,
But Nordstrom,
Nordstrom,
yeah, they were really
so
good for
it
Uh,
me.
could be 30 years later. They're gonna take it back.
Hmm.
yes,
Damn.
yes. The
Yep.
Timberland company does it
30
too.
years.
The Timberland company does it too.
You
Yeah.
know what? Y'all was talking about areas where y'all live, and I was thinking, man, y'all talking about places I don't even know because I'm on the West Coast. But it got me to thinking. I remember I never lived in Watts. I had a cousin that stayed there when I was little. I mean, we always was in Inglewood and South Central. But I remember when I was in my early 20s and riding with my uncle, and he told me something I never knew when he was talking about in Watts. And I don't know, and I could be just late on this. Maybe this is probably in a whole bunch of cities. And he was like, there's a freeway that gets off. I think it gets off in Watts. And correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I think it said it gets off in Watts, but there's no freeway to get on to get out of Watts. And that was created by design.
I don't know anything about that
You
area.
just lost me.
Well,
Say that
you
I'm
again.
guys
not sure.
wouldn't, but Nini,
Tyrone,
are
they're
you
scattered.
familiar? Nini, are you familiar with that area at all, or have you ever been
No.
over there?
Unfortunately,
Well,
no,
this
I'm
is
not familiar with Watts area.
right. So it was.
Nini, are you from California?
Yes, born and raised.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Southern California. I'm on the west. That's why I was worried about you. I don't know what's going on over there. I just know people was taking pictures of snow on the beach of Florida and
Oh,
somewhere else in the south. So that's why I thought, I was worried about. I thought y'all was like, um, you know, going
I'm
through
from
it
New
over
but
York.
there.
yeah. Well, yeah, I know you guys are mostly in here. Most of you guys are all South or East
No,
Coast,
hold
and
on, hold on.
so
I'm from New York. I did the West Coast a couple of times.
uh-huh. Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm just saying that in Watts, and and if you guys are familiar with or at least heard about Watts, y'all know the Watts riots. That's like
Yes.
the projects and all that. So what I was pointing out is, being that created by, like, it was designed that way on purpose, where you can get in but you can't get out, basically. Like, you can, but you have to know where you're going, and you got to take the streets in order to get out of
Like
Watts.
the Roach Motel.
Pretty much.
Memphis is like that. Coach, you got your hand up. What's on your mind?
Hey, shout out to the host, co-host, hey, Usher, Monty, Queen.
What's up, bro?
Uh,
Long time no see.
hey, man, cash gains, no taxation. Hey, I put a something in the chat how the Biden administration gave free education at HBCU Hampton to these illegals from Ukraine. They don't even offer that to our own children.
They hate black people. We had to get a memo that if you're going to go over and help them, they're going to call you a monkey and a nigger the whole time. Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah. That was from the what's that thing, that Peace Corps or something? What
Right.
do you call the one that helps them?
Well, that's
I
the Peace
forget the
Corps, right?
name. I can tell you the flyer. I have the flyer. You're going to be
Wow.
called a bunch of names. Really? How about this? You help yourself take that bomb off of your own head.
Dr. Howard Zinn talks about the Irish. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. He said, Dr. Howard Zinn says, quote, how could these new Irish immigrants, themselves poor and despised, become sympathetic with the black slave who is becoming more and more the center of attention? So basically, if you look at history, we were in Reconstruction. We were getting our shit together when the Irish were brought over here. So the Irish came over here and saw us balling out, basically. And the Irish were filthy, working in factories. No disrespect, but we're being factual, lice infested, lower class group. And they looked at us with absolute hatred. You think that hatred stopped? I view Joe Biden as an extension of that vitriolic Irish because he would always say things that were so inappropriate. Like that whole comment about if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I felt like that was a dig. I was like, why would you say something like that? You know?
Dig. It's an outright insult.
Right, right, right. But
Now let's get back to these Ukrainians at an HBCU.
we,
Why? What
mm-mm.
is that about?
And like it's crazy. And
Why do we have to take in all this riffraff? Take them over to Harvard.
Well, again, Wani, why do we have to do it? According to Dr. Claude Anderson, he says slaves were intentionally kept without hope, and he nails it right here in what is this called? Black Labor White Wealth. He said on page 11, he said a slave's life was committed to producing wealth and comfort to white masters. Slaves suffered in silence. We were never allowed to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So historical black colleges were created for us. So the best way to keep us without hope and then is to give it to somebody, give it to the Ukrainians. It's just for the blacks. Don't worry about them. They don't deserve anything. Let them
Asians, Ukrainians, all these people don't like us, filing lawsuits to keep us out of college, but they're all up in our colleges.
all up in
I'm
our
not.
colleges, all up in
Hey,
our
I'm
medical
not gonna.
schools.
I'm
hey,
not gonna
Professor,
accept it.
you mentioned the Irish in the early what 20s when they came over here.
Uh-huh.
You know, white power put them as patrolling the streets, so they had a lot of
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
yes.
That,
That's how they got so big in the city.
That's so perfect. Y'all heard what Housen just said. So the Irish, what I just read came from what year is this? This is 1848, 1847. So this is around the time the Irish came over
But
here.
it's earlier than that, Professor.
Was it? Hold on one second.
Yeah, it's like in the 20s,
1820s. Yeah.
20s, 30s, right around there.
Okay. Okay. I can vibe for
Because
that.
they was the last ones that was accepted into the white power. First was the Italians, Irish was the last ones, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The last
Right,
ones.
Wani?
Hold on one
I
second. I'll be
don't
right back.
know. I never looked that up. Who was accepted first? Let me try to look it up real quick.
yeah, but if you look at the same play that's happening now, they sent they degenerates like we've been educating ourselves and educating our people on. And what's happening now? All of these countries have opened up their prisons and insane asylums, and
They bringing them over here.
and I was out today down Center City, and I had it on Bluetooth, and I be replaying some of these spaces. Yo, man, I don't know if y'all could spot them. I could spot foreigners now like nothing. Like they are
Oh,
nervous as hell. And they think our city, because it's sanctuary city, because dumbass former mayor Michael Nutter in 2014 did an executive order and made the city of Philadelphia a sanctuary city. It wasn't even on the ballot. So Trump is going to bring ICE is already here. They talking about they trying to
In
put
Philly?
trying to put some protections up. Trump said he going into churches, schools, hospitals.
yo, fam, what about the man in Chicago? He's openly saying, I'm gonna protect them.
A
They not
lot of these mayors are.
His ass
That
too.
mayor in Baltimore, he needs to take his little behind to jail. Okay, so the first person, this is what I thought. The first persons to be accepted as white were Irish. Then the
Oh,
Italians came
okay, I had
storming
it
in.
backwards.
Yeah, then the Italians. Let me see what the date is. It's kind of nearby, mid to late 1900s Irish,
Yes.
late 1900s, early 20th century
Okay.
Italians. And then this is the part that I remember. The Jewish
Put
people
it on your
really were
face.
not accepted. Like they couldn't be in country clubs. They would just outwardly tell them, "No, you're not going to be. You can't go here. You can't go there." But they just did it in a different way. But they were the last, the Jewish people, Irish, Italians, and Jews.
Okay. Yeah, they use the Irish as uh attacking black people in the city back then. Cause
Yes, they did.
like the professor said, you know, even when we came out of bondage, right? Some black people went their way and they cultivated the land. They started eating.
All three of these groups lived in their own little areas and they all irritated us in our neighborhoods,
Yes.
according to my mother, because I was born in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I had to make a quick run right quick, but back to your point. Yeah, the point he brings up is very excellent. The Irish came here poor, like Dr. Zen said, poor, starving, and hungry, and they saw this group of people who just won their liberation, and there goes some vitriol. So the system cleverly, like Housen said, put the Irish and the but the Irish, this shit about to get real interesting. Put the Irish in positions of in the police forces called the slave patrols, which evolved into the police force. So Irish were designated to keep us in check. Now, what I read years ago is, and Dr. Howard Zinn talks about it when he starts talking about robber barons, the Rockefellers, and the maintenance of power. To maintain absolute power over a group of people, such as us or any group of people, you need a legal side and you need an illegal side. Got it? So the Irish were offered positions in the police force. The unspoken and sometimes outright spoken social contract was keep those N words in check, right? Harass them, you know. But you need an illegal side of the game. So you had the Irish and the Italians over here. Who do y'all think took over the illegal side of enforcement? The
The
Italians.
Italians.
Yeah, but Howard Zinn kind of argues, he he insinuates that that was sanctioned by the U.S. government. Make the Italians the illegal side, make the Irish the legal side, and you have maintenance of power. Dr. Shahrazad Ali said mafia stands for mothers and fathers in agreement. In agreement of what? In agreement against black people.
No, it doesn't.
That's what she said.
No.
I know it don't mean that, but I like the way that sounds.
Why do they say that? See, I'm not taking any more people's word, uh, analysts after these debacles that I'm hearing. Two different uh, origins for the word Hebrew. Mafia, which is older than their presence here. That's an international crime syndicate. Crime syndicate. It has nothing to do with America. They just brought it over here.
I know. I just like sure. I like.
I know, but why did she say that again?
I
I
think she was just
I forgot.
sarcastic.
She was trying. She was trying. Oh, I know why she said that. Tyrell,
There's a
something's wrong with
lot
your
of
phone. I know why she said that. Sharzad was talking about black women and how they have an issue. I'm paraphrasing, but how there's an issue with black women getting along with their man. And Sharzad said the Italian women will work with a man even when he's doing illegal activities. And she said the mafia. She said some people say, she didn't say that that's what it said. She said some people say that mafia stands for mothers and fathers in agreement.
There's no women and men on earth that get along, so let's just get that out there.
That's true.
Well,
No,
Yanni,
none. That's not
Yanni,
a thing.
yeah, but they don't. But listen, they don't get along, right? But they don't go against a man openly.
Yes, they do. I just saw them
Serious?
fighting in Italy.
No, well, you'll
Uh,
see
uh,
that.
I
You'll
Fighting in
just
see
Italy.
saw
that.
a.
But
Hold up! I just saw a Italian prostitute fighting a pimp right in front of where I was
no, we talking about the mafia.
in Venice. Oh well, they'll probably get cut into little pieces and thrown in the river,
Yes,
so they ain't gonna do
yes,
nothing.
yes,
Yeah,
They'll
they're
yes,
kill them.
probably too scared to fight.
They're not playing over there. They will. They will. You'll get messed up.
yes.
Hey,
So that's
Professor, check
not.
back.
That's not the same thing.
But Professor, who made that? What you just saying is the mafia stands for what?
It's not official. Dr. Sharzad Ali, she writes books on black men and
Yes, yes, I
relationship.
know who. I know who she is.
Got it. So she said that in one of her interviews. She said she said basically she was, and I'm paraphrasing. She was like, everybody can get along with their man except us. She said even the Italians, they up here killing folk, cutting people in little pieces. They get along with their man. And she said the mafia. She said some people say the mafia stands for mothers and fathers in agreement. She was being facetious.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they all get along, why are they always butchering each other and boo-hooing all over these crime shows? Why can I be interviewed for zillions of years into infinity with them beating down their family members?
Well,
Women
the game done
poisoning their
changed.
husbands, men shooting the whole family,
This is
women
true.
tricking their kids into shooting the man in the head. I can't even, they are the most creative murderers on the planet.
Hey, remember
They
that
did it every which way. I'm surprised they didn't trick a dog into killing a man in the house.
morning? Remember
That's
Boston
next.
with Charles Stewart murdered his pregnant wife?
Huh? Oh yeah, and said black people did it.
Black people always getting blamed.
Yeah,
That's their
he's out
go-to. They
there
love doing that. That
bumping
bitch
his
Susan
wife
Smith.
off. Oh
I
yeah,
almost,
she can
I
stay all
almost
up
cussed
in the
this white.
jail.
You know what? I almost cussed this white girl out I worked with. I just started the job and I had to bite my tongue a little bit, but I still kind of let her have some business. But she was like saying, "Oh my God, that's so terrible." I said, "You know what?" I said, "You want to know the worst part about that?" I said, "The fact that she blamed it on a black man." And she was like, "No, the worst thing is she killed her kids." I said, "Look, that's sad and all.
Nope.
Those are her kids." I said, those are only two kids. I said, but imagine all the innocent black men out there who have to watch their back and worry about getting shot because she lied. Ain't no white man got to worry about, getting hunted down because she lied on him. So I looked at her and I just was like, I'd already had it set in my mind that she was racist. I was just like, well, I already thought she was racist anyway. But when she said that, I said, no, it is not. I said, because there's other innocent lives that get way more than what and I'm thinking, and this is something that's done all the time. Like, girl, if you don't shut your white ass up, I'm about to come over this table and knock the shit out of you.
Yeah, look at George Steiny Jr., 14-year-old South Carolina, because they lied on him saying he killed the troglodyte.
Hmm.
But since it's classified as white European mafia peasant criminal woman girl, and then
Coach.
they made the movie Green Mile with Tom Hanks, and I'm still researching Michael Dark Michael
Clark Duncan.
I think he was Caribbean. Uh, he actually played George Steiny. They couldn't have a child do it, so they just had a grown man with a child behavior. But that was movie. That's why I don't believe Tom Hanks when he came out in 2020 talking about he didn't know what happened in Tulsa. God damn it, you played in a movie that was after our ancestor, 14-year-old George Steiny Jr., the first to get electrocuted and was innocent. I don't believe none of these fuckers. Speak my piece.
Wow. So, fifth, thank you, Coach. Fifth dimension. I saw you come up. I don't think you ever spoke in my space before. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, man? I appreciate you for having me up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, one love to everybody that's listening. I mean, I ain't want to switch gears or nothing, but did y'all see there was a post with the Harvard students debating each other about segregation and privilege?
Uh-uh.
Did anybody see that?
I didn't.
It was very interesting. Um, my thing is, because they had a whole bunch of diversity in there. It was Asians, whites, blacks, Indians, Hindus, and I'm trying to fit this conversation to what you guys are talking about with this. When we talking about the diversity part of everything that's going on, it's only going to come from a certain perspective because we bring a certain ingredient to everything. And of course, you got, the white side of it because of the privilege side of it. They talked about segregation and the privilege thing. So, you got the young people that, they people went to Harvard, and of course they get that admission through that because their parents went there versus somebody who actually had to work hard to actually get these grades in school to get to that point versus someone who just like comes over here and just like, oh, we're gonna give you this. So it's a different dynamic when we talk about the aspects of how um, people are treated in America. I hope I'm saying this right because I don't want to get off topic or off code with anything.
No, believe it or not, you making sense to me. Let's just say I know somebody very intimately who went to Harvard.
You.
I know this person very intimately.
Yeah, our ancestors built the institutions.
Yeah, and at Harvard, they're the dorm rooms, which are really gorgeous. I'd start to notice they all had a third room, like a third bedroom that was smaller. Well, on my way out, I was talking to a girl I was seeing at the time, and just asked her. I was like, "Why does every dorm room have a third room in there?" And she was like, "Oh, well, that's for the when the back in the 1600s when Harvard students would bring the help with them." I didn't catch it at first. Like help, it's like the slaves. So the students would bring slaves with them. So that's a little history they hide. Uh,
Then another one got to cut the check.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I have a quick question then too. By me being I'm an elder gentleman. I'm not that old, but I ain't gonna say I'm 47 years old. So I work in a corporation, and I have a bunch of young men
Young,
that like,
you ain't no elder.
I
well,
was gonna say, Elder. Oh my God, I'm
well, wait,
51,
wait,
going
wait,
to be
wait, wait.
52. You better stop.
Y'all gotta hear me out though. I've been guiding since I was in my teen years. So it's a bunch of people that don't have the same concept of life that we have. That's what I mean by elder. My knowledge is elder, not my body.
Oh, okay.
So I have a lot of young men that's around me that I want to help, but at the same time, they're not receptive to what I'm gonna be able to tell them. Like, and listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I really don't want to, but at the same time, I really want to. So how do I maneuver that type of space? Because it's like, yeah, but no.
Are,
Um, y- y-
are you an example of what you trying to?
yeah, that's a good one.
I'm a quiet example. Follow my lead. If you want to move through this corporate structure, follow my lead. If you're gonna keep just like shucking a job and then not really build, this is how I look at myself. I don't work for this company. This company got to provide services for other people, so I'm providing a service for this company. So I don't work for them. I work for myself. That's how I look at me because that's my mindset. So I'm trying to get them to think like that versus you coming here and you working for this company. You need to be thinking like you are your job, you are your corporation. You need to make sure you're on time, you present yourself well, and move accordingly.
A leadership is a very elusive thing. How old are the people you're leading?
It's I would say the oldest is probably, they got a guy that's like my age, that's and the youngest I would say is probably like about 27.
Yeah,
The guy. Go
It's
ahead,
it's
Professor.
it's so many leadership styles. What I learned is the best way to lead is like Coach said, by example. You better be that damn example. You know what I'm saying? If you want them to be prompt and
Like I
be,
said, yes and no. I mean, they can come and leave. I've seen hundreds of people come. I've been there for like 14 years.
yeah.
I'm what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm getting me, but at the same time, I see some potential, and like not even just to be here. It's like just life experiences. Just like learn this and use it as
Hey,
you
I have
move
a
forward in
question.
life.
I used to mentor the youth coach of football here in this city for 20 years. Do you try to mentor them on the job or you invite them out for some lunch or something? So sometimes the atmosphere can change the perspective and get people zeroed in. We can't micromanage anybody, but all we can do is invite them and give them mutually beneficial suggestions. It's up to them when they're adults. Like, I'm not here to micromanage adults. I'm just here to give mutually beneficial suggestions to our family tree lineage. I don't give a shit if you use the information, don't use it, put it on the shelf, use it for later, throw it in the trash, or shove it up your ass. It's not going to prevent me from educating myself and educating my people. Speak my piece.
Yeah, coach. When I tell you, I'm the most quietest person in that place. I don't micromanage. I can care less what y'all do. But the thing is, at the same time, it's like I see your mistakes, and it's like I want to tell you something, but it's like you're not going to even listen because I see how you're already moving. I'm like, how do you help but don't help, but want to help, but then like, nah, they don't see it. Like I'm at that space. Like, if that make any sense.
Can I
I
say
think
something, brother?
Jada suggested you a lot of times if you change the environment, you get people's attention. That's all I'm saying. While you in the mix, uh, people attitudes and all of that in that environment, they ain't gonna. You take them out, like yo, let's go get some lunch on me. You ain't gotta spend a whole lot of money, but you there to have a whole objective written down. This is why we meeting. You could take it or leave it, and bounce. That's it. Like it ain't on you. It's on
Okay.
them. Speak on peace.
I
Here's it.
suggest, listen, I suggest you take one at a time. You work on one.
Or you can what worked for me when I was AOIC is I was the only black guy there and I was a leader. I was an officer. Was to this shit really works. Is to deputize, pick you an NCO, find somebody you trust, or somebody you like, somebody like you, one of the young men that really likes you, that may be a little malleable, a little naive, and deputize him, give him position of power. Read 38 Laws of Power. It talks about
Yeah.
Napoleon, and Napoleon was a very powerful leader. You want to know what gave Napoleon his power? It's just walking through the crowd and just tugging on young men's ears and asking them, "Hey man, how you doing?" And really meaning it. You need anything? You hungry? What you want? Like Coach said, "Hey man, what you eat?" Give him a pat on the back, man. What you got? But don't be fake because that shit gonna backfire. Just be real.
And
Hey,
see that's my problem. I'm just 100% me. I don't know how to do nothing else besides that. And
that's it.
I've tried that. Uh, take one person with me and try and do that, but uh, they came back and just went gossip like little women. Was like, oh, we went there, had drinks, we did this, and I was like,
Well,
brother.
guess what? You picked wrong. You picked the wrong person. You should be able to. You need to discern. Use your discernment to. And it's no fast way. You gotta watch what people do. I mean, it's all type of little games you can play.
Hello,
Play, play basketball with them. Play a video game with them. See, you want to be looking. You want to know why business people play golf and shit. The real reason why they play golf
business.
because they want to see. They want to see who cheats. They want to see how you play. Because how you play is who you are. You can't run away from yourself. So take a little time to find out who's just a good officer sits back and watches. Don't say a damn word. I first month or so I don't say shit. I want to see what you do. I'm watching you. You don't know I'm watching, but I'm watching you and your homeboys. If you run up to me snitching on your homeboy, I know you'll snitch on me. You know, and then you find somebody who's showing good signs of integrity. Then after that, you take them. Play ball with him. See how he play ball. Is he cheating? Is he lazy as hell? Is he tired all of a sudden? Okay, that's a bad sign. Play a video game with him. Play Call of Duty. See if he cheats. You know what I'm saying? Once you build another level of trust, you deputize his ass. You know what I'm saying? Give him a position of leadership, and you let him lead while you sit there smiling like nobody knows you even leading. That's the best way. Best leadership I've ever had is when people didn't even realize I was a leader.
Yeah, like you just said, Professor. Like usually the person that's really, and I'm not talking about extrovert, but usually the person that's observant, that's usually the person I usually gravitate to because they watch
Mm-hmm.
everything. They watching everybody and everything.
Yeah, and
Talking
also,
so
right?
much. I don't really.
Yeah, the one that don't the your fan, the one that don't talk too much.
Oh yeah, you don't want one to talk because
That's
talking
the one you want. The one who talks less as possible.
right. Tom Wolfe said some powerful shit back in the day with his racist ass. He said most people are either talking or doing, either or. Now they're according to Tom Wolfe, there every once in a while there's a freak of nature like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali could talk and do at the same time, which confused people. He tell you how he gonna whoop your ass, and then whoop your ass exactly how he told you. You know that's rare.
Back it up, right?
Yeah, but most people are either
Yeah,
talking
talk
or
to you
doing.
while you whooping your ass too.
Right.
Talk to me while you whooping
That's
me.
not rare in our culture, though.
Yeah.
In our
But
culture.
fam, you said
Nah,
you've
that's
been there for
true.
14
That's true.
years on the job, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you're gonna know who's hungry or not.
All well.
But
You follow me?
the turnover rate. So I'm constantly seeing new people.
I know you want to reach out and show that love, help a brother come up. You will see one, but at the end of the day, just sit back and just see what happens.
Yeah,
But
just
don't go all
observe.
out. Listen,
Hey,
don't go
coach, that's
all
what
out.
I've been doing, man. It's like
If it
I
ain't nothing
mean,
pop, listen. If it ain't nothing pop, just keep it moving.
yes, sir.
That's my suggestion. Just keep it moving.
That's how I've been there for this long. I'm just keep it moving.
Just keep it
I've
moving.
seen one
Brother,
or
you
two,
will
but
find one. You will find one. One is going to be there. He's there. You just didn't see him yet.
Yeah, how much
He's
time?
there.
How much the decision to take the young man or young lady out to lunch to attempt to like educate them and mentor them? What was it? 3 weeks, a month?
I didn't hear the whole question. What you said?
I said, how much time before you engage the young lady or young man to take them out to lunch to attempt to mentor them? Was it a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? How long a period of time before you engage them?
It depends. It depends
No, no,
how hungry
I'm
that person
the
is.
one that you said that went back and talked.
Oh.
Wait, how long did it take for me to like do that for them to go back and talk the next day, or what you asking?
How long did it take you to observe to say that okay, I could pull them in? How long?
It
And then they
wasn't
went back and started running their mouth. That's what he's saying.
okay. Well, look, homie, it's the homie. Well, he ain't my homie, but I'm saying this for everybody else to understand. So he been there for about 2 years, and I went to go rock with him or whatever, and then the next day, the whole everybody know that we went and did this and did that, and it's like, dog, you wasn't supposed to tell nobody. I ain't tell him this, but it's like I can't even trust you. Why would you go run your mouth like that? It's like this is something that we was supposed to do.
Well,
Now
He a
everybody's like,
pillow.
well, when you gonna
He's
bring me? Well, you ain't gonna bring me, and it's like, oh my god, this
he's a pillow talk, in other words.
now
yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that you don't have the luxury of not being intentional with your communication and your language
What does that
because
Yeah,
mean?
you gotta set the boundaries. You gotta let them know. You
you
just
can't
gotta stay
assume.
between me and you.
Tell. You can't assume that they're gonna keep it in confidence. We don't have the luxury of that. We got to be direct, look them through the soles of their eyeballs, and give them a little test of something.
That's
You
what I
got,
thought I
you got,
was doing by bringing you away from everybody else. I'm like, listen, this is what we got to do here. I'm gonna need you to step up and do this and do that. Like, if I've been here for X amount of years, I need somebody else that's gonna step up and do the next thing too. So as this shit progresses, You gonna progress with it.
For 2 years.
I might not be here no more, and you be able to use what I gave you to keep progressing.
Hey, bruh, for 2 years you observed them, and that's the result.
Man, this dude got so many excuses. It just now everything is coming out, but it's like I don't know what to say, bro. That's
He
why I just
wasn't
be
hungry,
quiet.
fam.
Yeah,
Fam,
that's
he
the
wasn't
thing.
hungry.
That's the thing. I just sit back and be quiet, bro. I'm just I
He
want to
wasn't
help the
hungry.
youth. How is all these? Listen, we got a strenuous hiring process. How is all these guys making it through, but nobody don't have the capacity to even think for themselves?
I'll tell you
It's a,
this. Listen,
it's a herd mentality. Like they all get to get with each other and congregate and just gossip and it's just like,
you
man,
have to go outside there and recruit the people that you've already mentored. You might have to just bring your own squad on, because if that's the atmosphere, you can't work from within. You got to bring your own folks in. And it's not unconstitutional, and it doesn't go against the EEOC if it's word of mouth, ethnic lineage marketing. They do it all the fucking time. They try to tell our people the dumb shit. Well, you can't do no nepotism and bring your people in here. No, you can't
well,
publish it. You can't publish who you hiring, but word of mouth, we can do that.
I've brought people in. My own son has even worked there and he quit. So I can't. Maybe my experience there is different from everybody else's. So it's you know
Well, one thing I can say, right? You did your job, so don't feel any kind of way.
no, I don't feel no type of way. It's just more of I want to help men that's younger than me because I came from I come from a background to where I elevated myself into these
Right.
positions because I worked hard to get to where I'm at. I'm a worker. I don't
Yeah.
have no degrees. I don't have no. I worked myself up to where I'm at. So
Well, you heard what the coach said.
I got a
Bring your
question.
team in. Bring the
I
team
got
in.
a question for you, for everybody, and not even a statement.
Hold on 1 second, Coach. I'm just letting y'all know we're gonna shut it down in about 10 minutes. So go ahead and get your submissions in. Just keep in mind we're gonna close this space in about 10 minutes.
Okay,
All right.
you in a managerial position, supervisor, or even you just an employee who's been there, who actually has the qualifications to manage your department. Do not train people off of your intellectual property, how you develop shortcuts. Write that shit out in your own manual. Teach them from the job manual. Because what I've noticed is, and I've had this happen to me. I was in disaster recovery in the computer field in the late '90s when .com started booming and all of that. And I was actually thought, you know how we generous we are. We don't be doing it to brag or nothing. We want to help everybody. So I'm helping these troglodyte Neanderthals because we had a phantom server, and I knew it was either a hardware issue or software issue. So we went to lunch, came back, figured out I figured out it was a hardware issue. I'm showing them shortcuts and stuff. Don't you know one of these fuckers went and got a $80,000 job and undermined me on it, and I trained them. I had to walk off the job because I was getting ready to fuck everybody up. So don't give out your intellectual property, y'all. I don't give a fuck if you've been there 15 years and you feel compelled to help somebody. No, get the
Never tell people what you know. Tell them everything they know. Don't tell them everything you know.
employee handbook. This is how they say page one. Do it. Let them fuck up. Don't give up yours. Cause too
off
many
top,
people lost their careers training fuckers, showing them all the
hey,
shortcuts, and then you out of
that,
a job. Speak my piece.
that's the thing. I already know that. That's number one. Like they got people they trying to force me to train. I'm like, I'm not training nobody to take my job. So I know that. That's number one.
Well,
That happened to me. I didn't train this girl. she would just ask me, I would just give her tips because she sat next to me when I started the job. I had help from people. So when she started, and I had been there 2 years, she'd been there only a year. We both went up for the same position. And of course, she was a white girl. She was being groomed, I think, from since she first got there, though. And the cold part about it is soon they passed me over for the job. And I'm thinking all the tips, she took all those tips from me. I'm the one that taught
Wow.
her that stuff. But you know what was crazy about it? After she got it, she had did that position for a month and left and went and got another job. And I'm looking at them like, see, y'all stupid because y'all done trained her to do a higher position that you could have given to me. And I'm still here. I didn't leave, but y'all left, and now y'all got to find somebody else. And they were trying to see if I would apply for again. I was like, no, y'all can kiss my ass. I'm going
Off top.
somewhere else.
That's off top.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed y'all. I learned a lot today. Uh, we'll be cranking this thing back up tomorrow, same time, same place.
Hey, Pat Professor,
Um,
check your cash app. That's me in your back channel. I'll send you my email for my contact.
okay, appreciate you, bro.
Hey, I've
Let's
been
see.
trying to track you down, man. You don't be checking your back channel. Like I noticed that. But yo, I really
it gets jam. I do, but it gets jam packed. I would be behind, but
no. But it ain't no rush. I'm glad that I caught you tonight, bro. I really
yes, sir.
appreciate you, man. Speak my piece.
Oh man, it's Coach. It's good to hear your voice. I told Coach a year ago when I first got on Spaces. He used to come on at the end of people's spaces and talk, and then the space would close out. And I said it feel like a Spike Lee movie when Coach come on, because he'd be like giving advice and stuff. Like somebody need to be playing some jazz or something when he come on. Man, Coach is classic.
Professor, I appreciate you, Professor.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all and look for us tomorrow. Wani had to leave, left a little bit early. Nikki, did you have any closing remarks?
I see one
you
connecting on my phone, bro. Oh,
see Wani?
Professor,
Nah, she
at
left.
some point,
This spaceman acting up. It's been acting up. I got kicked out
at
earlier.
some point, you need to really do a series on meritorious manumission, bro. That is our number one
Yeah,
enemy.
yeah, man, it fucked us up so bad.
Listen, bro.
I'm toying with
That right
when I get
there,
some more.
you when you brought that to us, I've been looking into it. It actually brought tears to my
It
eyes.
fucked us up,
It
man.
brought tears to my eyes, bro.
Yeah, it took the trust away from us, man. It took the trust away, and the government is directly responsible, man. Yeah, I'm gonna dig into that, and I might get a YouTube channel just so I can do videos and stuff. But man, I appreciate y'all, and guess what? I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.
One.
Appreciate you too, Professor. Thank you for letting me speak on the
Yes, sir. Thank
stage.
y'all for coming, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
See you
Peace.
tomorrow. Good night,
Good night.
everybody. Peace and power.